That's it.
What do you call the boy who sings that again?
I think it's Huey Lewis in the news.
That's Huey down the road and lives beside Mary across.
Hi, Mary Lewis.
McGuckin, do you ever call in with her? She's great. She's the best cup of tea.
She's sister-in-law of Maggie Louie in the news.
Is that she a relation of Maggie's?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
She married the fella.
No, I was at the wedding.
Were you?
I played the fiddle. That's a great story.
Are you glad to be back?
That's nice to be back. Yeah, I got a couple of days off to do a few things there, you know. So
because I presume you're all set for Christmas now.
Yeah, good enough.
And have you got your better half her present?
No.
Why not?
Just.
What are you going to get her?
Air fryer. Twin one.
Yeah.
So she can do the sausages and the goose.
Wow. Oh, maybe you could get her a dishwasher or something.
No,
or
it's
an
too
iron.
expensive.
Why you get her an air fryer? Does she want an air fryer?
No, she doesn't. We have one. I'm only joking. I don't. Okay. No.
So what are you going to get?
That's all right. Do you know we don't really need? Do you know what all I want for Christmas is just to be healthy and everybody well. That's all.
Good. But what does she want for Christmas?
Obviously, she wants probably the same. But then you know what I mean. I don't know.
We all want the same, but we also want something.
What would you like for Christmas? You have a nice watch. You have a phone that does everything. Do you know what I mean? What do you need? Do you know what I tell you? What you need? You need to buy yourself a decent pair of headphones.
Yeah.
You're too tight. You're not buying them. You want somebody else to buy them for you. Yeah.
All right then. So that's it. No one's getting anything for Christmas. Happy Christmas, Gooch.
Oh no.
See you tomorrow.
Big feed.
Sure.
That's what I want for Christmas. I came home last night and I bought gluten-free stuffing in the shop. I spotted it and I was super excited.
What is not in gluten-free stuffing? What is gluten?
It's to do with, Daddy, I don't know. It's to do with wheat. Can't eat anything
flour?
Wheat. Flour, wheat.
Yeah, okay.
Wheat. So there's wheat in everything. There can be wheat and vinegar,
so
wheat and sauce.
would be just like the worst.
God help you. Yeah. Aye.
So just anything that's kind of flour-based, so bread.
Wheat-based. Wheat. Anything. There's more wheat and stuff than you would realise.
Flour comes from wheat, though. There's other stuff comes from wheat. Yeah,
the stuff that has wheat in it.
Okay.
Like you think you buy a bag of frozen chips, you think, oh, well, they have some frozen chips, sure, but there's wheat in frozen chips.
Okay, I get you now.
You know, that kind of stuff. But it's all doable and stuff, but do you know yourself?
It's much better now than it was a couple of years ago.
It is, yeah. But you know how you have gluten-free breads and treats and stuff and sugary sweets, they're very sugary and, do you know, they wouldn't probably, I'm sure they're not the most healthiest for you, do you know?
So it's a payoff, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's all good.
One with the other. All right, good stuff.
Can we have a good show, right?
Lee, see you tomorrow for the shortest week you've ever had. It is just after 9 now. Let's get a news update, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Bishop of Raphoe says he is deeply saddened and ashamed by the sexual abuse carried out by a former Donegal priest. Eamon Crossan at Donegal Circuit Court yesterday pleaded guilty to the sexual abuse of a minor in the 1990s. He was a priest in the Diocese of Raphoe from 1976 and was removed from the ministry in 1998 on reception of an earlier complaint for which he served time in prison for. In a statement, Bishop Al McGuckian apologised to the victim and his family for the abuse he had to endure at the hands of a priest in a position of sacred trust. A Donegal deputy has demanded a special debate on health be held before the Dáil rises for Christmas recess today. This week, Deputy Pearse Doherty told the Taoiseach that patients and staff continue to suffer due to severe overcrowding in hospitals. He says it's a disgrace that the situation has been allowed to reach the crisis point it has.
We have elderly patients in my own hospital in Donegal who have been unable to get a hospital bed, forced to wait for 36 hours in a hard chair without a second of sleep during that period. And all the while, the CEO of the HSE, the most senior civil servant in the Department of Health, and even the Fiscal Council have warned that our health service has been underfunded by your government for next year. It is absolutely disgraceful. It is a crisis point.
Well, responding, Leo Varadkar, while not agreeing to Deputy Doherty's request for a debate, instead outlined additional funding that has been announced for health.
Deputy Doherty asked for a debate on health and raised the issue of health funding. Would just like to mention that Cabinet approved the revised estimates vote and has allocated an additional 92 million to health, which will include funding for new drugs in 2024 and also funding for the Fair Deal to make sure that we don't see an increase in delayed transfers of care within our hospitals. And that's in addition to the supplementary agreed only a few weeks ago.
Meanwhile, Taoiseach Leo Varadkar is visiting Brussels today for a major summit where several heads of state are expected to face off with the Hungarian Prime Minister. Viktor Orban has threatened to veto a major aid package for Ukraine. He also intends to block proposals to begin talks in relation to Ukraine's EU membership. Leaders will vote on whether to begin these talks during the two-day summit. Weather now cloudy with patches of light rain, drizzle and mist this morning. This will clear later, leaving a mostly dry day with some sunny intervals developing. Highest temperatures of 8 to 10 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Give a gift of choice this Christmas with a gift card that supports Irish retail. Accepted in thousands of outlets nationwide and online with participating retailers, the One for All gift card is a perfect gift for loved ones. Pick up a One for All gift card at your local post office and make Christmas shopping easier this year. The One for All gift card is issued by GVS Prepaid Europe Limited. GVS Prepaid Europe Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It is 6 minutes past 9 on this Thursday, the 14th of December 2023. How you all keeping? Great to have you on the show this morning. It's dark out there this morning, isn't it? But we're getting very close to the shortest day of the year. And in this month, we start to see a stretch in the evenings, which is nice, isn't it? Well, anyway, we're going to keep your day nice and bright here on the programme over the next 3 hours and throughout the day here on your #1 Highland Radio. The lines are open for you right now. Lots of interesting guests and topics for you to get involved in. Raise your own. Pass on your own stories, maybe your acts of kindness, anything you want to talk about or share. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, as you know. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. And of course, if you wish to email us, it's comments@highlandradio.com. And you can watch the programme every morning. Good morning to Dolores. Good morning to Annie. They're amongst the hundreds of you across our various platforms that join us on a daily basis to watch the show. We're on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, so you can watch us on your big smart TV. Most TVs now are smart TVs. They have the YouTube app with them. Or your Fire Stick. Many of you out there have your Fire Sticks as well, so you can watch the show on your big screen or across all your mobile devices. It's a Thursday morning, so that means there's lots of papers out, of course. And we'll start with the Tyrconnell Tribune. When the tricolour was finally removed from the Shane McGowan's coffin inside the church in Nina on Friday, it revealed an intricate pattern of willow that was handcrafted and woven in the heart of the Fanad Gaeltacht. The casket was handmade in Fanad by Colin McAteer and his Green Coffin Company. He said he watched the funeral with great interest and he was really proud of the skills of his weavers and that of the engraver Martin Clinton Carrignarron, who's also based in Fanad. But never in his wildest dreams did he expect to see the Hollywood actor Johnny Depp carrying a coffin that was crafted in Fanad. As the breathtaking farewell became quite the gig for the dreamers and the believers, the funeral service morphed into an afternoon where the music spoke to the generations in St. Mary's, St. Mary of the St. Mary's of the Rosary Church, and the coffin stood in silent offer honour to a man who in life we love dearly and in death even more so. It's a great picture and beautifully written as always there. The Donegal, I'm in the Tyrconnell Tribune today as well. There's a picture in it as well. Thanks, John and team. The Donegal Democrat this morning, a former parish priest from Donegal who was charged with almost 100 historic sexual offences against a male victim, has pleaded guilty. Former cleric Eamon Crossan appeared before Donegal Circuit Court this week, where he faced 96 counts of indecent assault and sexual assault. The 72-year-old Crossan pleaded guilty to 9 sample charges out of the 96. The court heard that these were representative counts and guilty pleas were tendered on a full facts basis. This was accepted by barrister for the state, Mr. Donal Keane, BL. The Donegal News this morning. A lovely picture of a family meeting Santa Claus. 2-week-old baby AJ with big sister 7-year-old Keely meeting the man himself at Collins Christmas Grotto in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Below that, the owners of a Donegal pub which suffered major damage in a fire last week say they've been overwhelmed by the support and goodwill of the local community. Catherine and Paul Coyle, who run the popular Chactassi in Minalek, Crawley, say they're just thankful that nobody was hurt in the blaze which engulfed the pub and their home upstairs. They said the rapid response of fire personnel to last Wednesday's incident ensured that the fire was brought under control and the building was saved. On to the Derry News this morning. There are concerns over a drugs epidemic. Concerns have been raised about Derry's ongoing drugs epidemic. On Tuesday, a local judge asked the PSNI in the city to give him a comprehensive update on the seriousness of the drugs problem in the city. The recorder of Derry, Judge Neil Rafferty KC, made the request after he sentenced 2 men for drugs offences, one of them for 3 years and the other for 18 months, suspended for 2 years. He said the drugs issue in the city is one that concerns me most deeply at the moment, and I would like the facts and figures put before me. I've read on many of the papers put before me of people being taken to Outnagelvin Hospital. Such is their state of unconsciousness because of drugs. Just how bad is the problem? And it's at epidemic levels, of course. It's worrying right across the region, but it's right across the country now, as we try and highlight on this programme on a regular basis. The Irish Farmers Journal this morning: fallen animals row escalates over cost of rendering. That is their headline this morning. The dispute between knackeries and renderers over recent significant hikes in rendering costs continues. Knackery operators have cut back on animal collections from farms, and some are refusing to facilitate BSE testing. It's estimated that up to 2,000 cows aged over 48 months have not been tested for BSE at knackeries due to the strike. Minister for Agriculture Charlie McConalogue has not yet intervened in the standoff, but is advising knackeries to deliver fallen stock to Northern Ireland for rendering at their own expense. Okay, time now to go to the national newspapers this morning. And we'll start with the Irish Independent. And I wonder how many men might be inclined to go down this route. How many women might trust men to do it, I don't know. But a group of British men are the first in the world to test a new hormone-free male contraceptive pill. Scientists hope that if the tests are successful, the daily pill could broaden shared responsibility for contraception between the sexes. Men can currently only use condoms or have a vasectomy, while there's a vast array of contraceptives for women, including the pill, the coil, a contraceptive injection, and use of diaphragms or female condoms, among other options. The new male pill is a hormone-free drug, unlike the female pill. And guys out there, would you take it? Would you take it every day? And I suppose your partners, would you like to hand over that responsibility to the fellas? Let us know. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. The Irish Times, broad global welcome for COP28 fossil fuel deal. Now, that's if you completely and utterly ignore the countries in the world that are most susceptible to climate change. If you ignore them, then there's a broad global welcome. I just find it really interesting, and I reckon I know there's a climate crisis. I know things are changing, and I know some of you disagree with me. Okay, but I do. I feel it's quite evident that's what's happening. But what I don't feel is evident is that really the powers that be are making any decisions that costs them anything. All the decisions they make seem to cost us. There's been 28 of these COP meetings now with people from all over the world, flying from all over the world into some luxurious place or other to be wined and dined for 2 or 3 weeks. Look, people in the oil and coal business use these events to actually lobby for more favourable agreements. And then what happens is it's all done and dusted. And then they try and sell it to us, don't they? They try and say, look, isn't this amazing? We've made a historic announcement. But what in reality does it mean? It doesn't really mean for me anyway, someone hasn't related it to me where it feels like what they did over in Dubai has any consequences for the earth or for me. And I don't mean me in a selfish way. You know, when I say me, I mean us. Well, a landmark agreement reached at COP28 calling on countries to accelerate a global shift away from fossil fuels this decade has been broadly welcomed throughout the world. The compromise deal reached at the UN climate talks in Dubai also calls on countries to scale up cuts in carbon emissions and to quit adding carbon dioxide to the atmosphere entirely by mid-century. Unless it's gas, of course. Natural gas, you can keep using that. That's a good fuel, apparently, even though it releases green, although it releases toxins for the world. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, ministers have been told to bring forward plans to start spending a war chest of almost 2.5 billion on capital projects as the government faces into three major polls. Work on new flood relief schemes, roads, cycleways, hospitals and school projects paid for with windfall taxes will be started next year. The coalition is also set to launch a pre-election assault on Sinn Féin, with the opposition party struggling in opinion polls in recent months. One government TD told the Irish Daily Mail that officially the war chest move is to put shape on the capital spending programme, but in reality it is the firing of the election starting gun. Local and European elections are due to take place next June, with a general election predicted to be held around November, immediately after the budget. There is no point in building up billions of euro through careful management of the public finances only to let Sinn Féin spend it, a Fine Gael TD told the Mail. Now, I've heard representatives suggest as much. You know, we'll start it, let them finish it. But anyway, interesting, 2.5 billion. If you got things like the Bonaghy link sorted and the hospital sorted, would you be complaining either? I don't know. The Irish Daily Star today, Minister Anne Rabbitte, she was on this programme. She's been on the show a number of times. She does shoot from the hip. Junior Minister Anne Rabbitte said her experience of being a widow with 3 young children prompted her concerns about changes to support for Ukrainian refugees. On Tuesday, she told Tip FM that changes agreed by Cabinet following proposals from Integration Minister Roderick O'Gorman were unpalatable, and that she found that it a difficult one to swallow. It was agreed that from early in the new year, accommodation for newly arrived Ukrainian refugees would be limited to 90 days. While they are in state accommodation, the social welfare allowance will be cut to $38.80 a week, down from the $220. An addition of $29.80 will be given per child. But she says in her experience she doesn't really feel it's fair. I wonder, is this something that business owners across the Northwest are experiencing? It's in the Sun today. Gangs of shoplifting teens who believe they are above the law are causing mayhem nationwide, at all committee heard. Shop owners say the boom in robberies costs the retail industry $1.6 billion a year. The Oireachtas Business Committee yesterday heard how organised criminals are even sending their children into shoplift because they believe there's no punishment for underage children who get caught robbing. TDs and senators heard how around 1,000 instances of shoplifting are reported every day, with robberies on the rise. So as I say, I wonder, is this something that business owners across the Northwest are witnessing as well? And because in individually it might be seen as petty. I'm not suggesting it's petty crime, don't get me wrong. But if it's happening lots and lots, then obviously it's very, very significant. And I just thought I'd mention this out of the Irish Daily Mirror, because there's oftentimes issues where there's a big hoo-ha, loads and loads of conversation. People have their views one way or other, and then it kind of slips in, and people wonder, well, when did that happen? So I just thought I'd reference this for the record. Justice Minister Helen McEntee has received Cabinet approval to draft legislation to allow Gardaí to use facial recognition technology. So despite all the concerns that were out there, the Cabinet has agreed to draft legislation that will allow it. FRT has been a source of contention in the coalition, with Green Party TDs expressing concern about previous plans to legislate without full scrutiny. They also had concerns of it being coupled with body-worn cameras, so that's changed, so they're happy enough. It's been suggested it will save thousands of Garda hours by allowing the use of biometric identification to retrospectively search CCTV. And, of course, it was all fast-tracked following those riots in Dublin last month. And because everyone was really worried about the riots, the Cabinet have got it over the line, so to speak. So that's going to be a thing going forward. All right, that was a run through the papers. We're going to be speaking to Mary Coughlan shortly. She made history, becoming the first female chairperson of Donegal GAA. She's going to be joining us on the programme in the not-too-distant future.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by McGee's Chemist Main Street Letterkenny, with all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas delivered to your door, or order online and collect in store. Visit mcgees.ie.
Find the Volkswagen new with the Caddy Cargo Transporter 6.1 Crafter and the new Amarok. With HP finance from 4.9% and service plans from $12.99 per month. Book your test drive at Connolly's Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles Letterkenny or visit connellys.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by the way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit VolkswagenVans.ie for more information.
The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mazzell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour with their award-winning live show. See The Three Amigos live. Clonry Hotel Letterkenny, Tuesday, January 23rd. Tickets, priced €35, are now on sale at the hotel reception and Ticketmaster.ie, where extra charges may apply.
Happy Christmas from the Three Amigos! House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide robes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
To help with the cost of heating your home during the winter months, the fuel allowance scheme is now available. This allowance is paid at a rate of €33 a week for 28 weeks. To find out more and check your eligibility, visit gov.ie/fuel allowance. The quickest and easiest way to apply is online at mywelfare.ie. One payment per household. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
For all your party nights this Christmas, visit Meehan's of Raffo. Men's half-zips, jackets, chinos and stocking shirts up to 5XL. There's also a large range of fleeces and hoodies, plus slim, straight, stretch and bootcut jeans at Meehan's of Raffo. Gift vouchers available.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time now is 9:22. And we say congratulations to Mary Coughlan after her confirmation in the role of Donegal's GAA chairperson. What an introduction. Good morning to you, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I know what I wanted to say, but it didn't quite come out as I planned. Mary, there's just absolutely no doubt that you've achieved an awful lot in your life, and there's an awful lot of highs in there. Just curious as to where this ranks in, I suppose, becoming the chairperson of Donegal GAA, and how significant, I suppose, is it your first woman to become chair of Donegal GAA?
Well, I suppose I'd prefer if this wasn't about me, because this is about a collective, which is the GAA
we'll get to that.
And the committee. But like, I've always been a GAA person, as you know, and the GAA is very much part of where I come from in the parish of Inver, and I've had huge associations with the GAA. And unfortunately, in my time, I wasn't allowed to play football, but everybody else in the house did, and people would have known in GAA circles. My Uncle Austin would have been very involved, even at county level. And I have a young fellow who still plays for St. Noel's. So, you know, I've been always very much part of it, and it's part of who you are, and it's about belonging, and it's a voluntary organisation at the end of the day, which some people forget. So it's something we all enjoy, and, you know, there's fun in it, and there's enthusiasm, and there's competitiveness and enjoyment. And for a lot of people, It also provides an opportunity for people to meet up, people that might be on their own, enjoy football and can have something to talk about. And it's just very much part of who we are, and it's embedded in who we are as Irish people, as well as our language and our tradition. So that's where I've always come from, and it's always been part of my life, and it's very much part of my household now. So I was asked some time ago, as you probably would have heard at the convention, if I would put my name forward. And at the time I thought, look, I haven't had enough experience. I enjoyed being in the club and learning the ropes. And it was after this tumultuous year, and when the present chairman had decided to step down, of which I have to publicly thank, because he did a huge amount of work. And I'm sorry that he didn't feel he was able to continue on, but I think he can certainly hold his head up high about what he has done and achieved as chairman over a very, very difficult year. But all of that being said, I suppose a lot of people had come to me and asked me would I put my name forward. People were looking for a bit of change. And certainly I think we're all probably guilty of this, but once we're in roles, we can stay there for a long time, or sometimes we're left too long. And, I think change is good. It's not that we know it all. And there's a great balance there now in the committee between those with experience and those who are new. And equally, I think it's important to say we're going to have 5 women at the top table, which is great.
We are, as you say, and you reference Fergus McGee there, he had an awful lot on his plate because it has been a tough old year, a turbulent 12 months. To some extent, maybe that tide has already begun to turn. What else do you think that you need to achieve over your tenure at Mary?
Well, I suppose there were financial concerns, and there's debt to be dealt with. And at the end of the day, it's an organisation that must meet its legal requirements. Those have been embedded now with new governance and new methods by which there's accounting done. And we have a new auditor who has, performed very well. He's only had a very short period of time. And I think the clubs are very anxious to have the openness and transparency of what is actually going on, and that they're kept informed on a regular basis. And that would be hopeful. I would be hopeful that the treasurers now will be able to put that in hand. We also, the reality is, Greg, and there's no point in sugarcoating it, as one might say, it costs a huge amount of money to run a club. It costs even more to run a county. And those costs are based on the fact that there's greater regard now for the volunteers who are our players, and the supports that they all need at all levels, at underage level and all the way through. We have a very good hurling opportunity now, I must say, in listening to what's been happening, and with Setanta going well, and hopefully they'll do equally as well at the weekend. That's tremendous to see. So we have so many young people that have to be cared for, and I think that is the biggest thing that has to be dealt with now, is that we get back into a very robust structure for our academy, and that we're working there in supporting our young people to help them develop. Not everyone is going to be a county player, but at the same time, they all should be afforded the opportunity of a little bit more intensity in their coaching and training, and give them that opportunity, if they don't make it, that they would actually lead their clubs. And the clubs need leadership as well, on and off the field, and that's what is hugely, hugely important to me. So if we can work together, and I think that's, as I said last night, if everyone who is elected works to the best of their ability, and everyone who's employed would do likewise, then certainly I would hope that we would be in the headlines for the right reason as opposed to the wrong reason.
Yeah, and you talked about the academy, and the turbulent 12 months really kicked off, I suppose, with Carl Lacey's decision to quit his role as chief of Donegal's academy. You talked about the importance of GEA. But it survives with the future, and there's so many competing sports out there now, soccer, rugby, whatever it might be. It's really important that there is a strong, well-organised academy there that can, maximise the potential. We always have to have an eye on the future, don't we?
Well, that's hugely important, and all the clubs are trying to do the same. And I think it's very important that we in County Donegal would have a structure, a coaching structure that ties in very much and works very smoothly between your underage. A lot of clubs, even like ourselves, have very young children now starting on their skills, moving that through all the way into county and inter-county. And if we can get that right, it's very obvious from other counties that is what works very well. Now, it takes a lot of talent and it takes a lot of support. And, we have the ATU now in Letterkenny and we have Finn Valley College who are doing a huge amount of work in the sports field and sports sciences and everything. So I would hope that the people who are attending those colleges would revert back to their own clubs and to our county and use that knowledge and use that opportunity to develop our young people and their skills base. And the other thing about the GAA, some people are kind of feel it's an alien organisation. It's a very open organisation, and regardless of your ability, you are welcome. And that's the ethos of our Go games, that's the ethos of our underage, and people can play a part in their club in any way. And take enjoyment out of it. And I would be asking that we would see a greater increase in their membership within the county and also our volunteers. And you're quite right in saying that there are other sports, and sport is great. Sport is so good for people. It's so good for their mental health. It's so good for everything, their socialisation. And we also have to include, and we do that in a lot of clubs, those who perhaps don't have the physicality that is necessary but can still participate. And that is the ethos of the GAA. It is about a sense of belonging, a belonging to a club or a parish or whatever, and that there are opportunities for everyone within the organisation. And off the field you have score, which is hugely important. We also would need to look at handball, a fantastic skill that has, there's only a few clubs that provide handball now. All of these games, rounders, for example, that all includes people. We have our mothers and others, you have dads and lads. So that is that inclusiveness and an openness to all of the community. And any type of sport, I'm not here, anybody who participates in any type of sport is hugely, hugely beneficial to the athleticism and the mental health of our people.
Yeah, and of course, even people who don't play any form of GEA often benefit from the infrastructure in a community that the GEA provides as well.
It's a reason to go to a game. It's a reason to go to a game. You become interested. You meet people. You get a cup of tea. You have something to talk about. People who might be living on their own love to go, maybe a couple of people together. Sometimes they might have their tea out if they're going to a big game. It's all about a sense of belonging and looking after each other and looking after the people that are our members. And, we have people from abroad as well who are a huge resource to our county, and I'm only speaking of our county, a huge resource to us. And they've done huge amounts of work all over the world. And we are a worldwide organisation, the GAA, and we see a lot of our young people, the first thing they do when they go away is they join the GAA club. Because they know they're welcome and they know they belong.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it feels like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes it feels like some of the biggest detractors of Donegal GAA are from within the county, if you know what I mean, not necessarily from out the county. Sometimes it can feel like you've got, current or former people involved in it pulling in different directions. Do you recognise there is something there and that we all need to try and get on the same direction and be, with the Donegal shirt on, so to speak, from Bundoran to Malin and Stranraer to Burton Port?
Well, that's in every organisation, I might add.
No, don't. No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
They have the same problem. And this is not a perfect science, and people are not always happy, and people have different opinions about how things should be done. And I'm not an expert in any of this, but you just have to get to a balance, and people are entitled to say what they think, but we have to listen to what they have to say too. And you'll always. I've had experience of being in political life, and you've had the them and us, whatever they say in Dublin. Up in headquarters, they're always giving out about the same will be about Croke Park. It's. But some of that is lack of communication within all of the organisations, that people don't. Organisations go on, and sometimes you're not as informed as you should be about what's going on, or don't maybe necessarily have the same interest. But I think that's what's hugely important, that we have that line of communication that members, are informed about what's going on and, what the development plans are, for the next 5 or 6 years in the development of games. So that's in every organisation. And, there are people who played football for us who didn't have the same resources and supports that our people have now, and the same for our hurlers. And they would say, oh, where are they running now? We were hardy, we cycled to the game, we played a game, we went out and we milked cows. You get that, plus the fact that you have to have all of the supports and to reach the athleticism that is necessary now in order to be able to be competitive. So, you have a span from there to there, and that's, it's very hard to fill in that gap, but everybody has a point. Well, look, and at the end of the day, it's all about supporting people. And people want success, and we didn't have success at a national level for a long, long time in this county, but we still were very proud county people and very supportive of our clubs and our underage. And it's by moving it up that next step that you get up to the top level of achievement. And Ulster has always been very competitive, and that has helped us because of that competitive nature within Ulster, whereas you see in other parts, they find the lack of competitiveness has kind of almost drained them from that need within the respective counties. And everybody likes to see people doing well.
Yeah, on the positive, as you say, off the pitch, the ship is being steadied, turning in the right direction, the academy getting sorted on the pitch in fairness to Jim McGuinness's predecessors, we could see an upward tick in terms of he's taking over sort of in an upward mode. That's how I feel anyway. But talking of Jim McGuinness, it is there's something. Even though he's back, you're in there for the first time. There's a freshness. Again, I'm not phrasing it well, but we're heading into 2024 with optimism, with right to be optimistic about what's coming down the line.
And we are hopeful, and we are anxious that things will work out. But we're not going to win in All Ireland tomorrow, so we have to build on this.
What?
And
You promised you'd deliver in All Ireland the next day, Mary Coughlan.
Jim McGuinness and his team and the under-21 people and our minors and all our underage people, they are all part of a team, a thought process. I'm not going to be interfering in it, nor anybody else. Our job is to make sure that the organisation is run well and that we are in a position to support the needs and the talents of our teams. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Right.
And there is that optimism out there. Jim and his team are very driven, but he'd have no team if he didn't have the talent. And we have to build on that talent and support the people that are going to go out and put on the jerseys for us.
Okay. Just must mention, I presume the first game that you'll be attending, it's a short wee trip down to Ballyshannon to Father Turney Park. It's a charity game, Donegal v Roscommon, and the charity partner for that is the North West Hospice. €10 for adults, €5 for older people, students €5. Tickets can be bought online. Have you any views about that whole, I'm not going to be controversial, but about I know you can actually pay cash. I don't think an awful lot of people realise you can pay cash for league games. The GEA centrally gave a dispensation, but they got about 50 or 60 grand back off it. No one took them up on it. But in terms of inclusivity, is there anything you can do about accessibility? So older people, yes, they can pay €5 for that game, but they have to get the ticket online. And I know there are some partnerships with shops, but coming from a rural part of the world as well, Mary, that doesn't suit anyone. Is there anything for 2024 within your gift that we can sort of at least maybe even have one turnstile cash for games? Or is there anything you can do there? Or do you think anything needs looking at?
This is where you have the balance of governance, where you have to have accountability for people who go through the gate. And that is, as you can appreciate, hugely important. And I've heard of this now. What we do in our club is we have a tap. So you tap your card. Or the other thing, I might just now take the opportunity. Our season tickets are open. Great opportunity to buy a present for someone. There'll be club passes available, which equally would be a lovely present for someone, where you could buy all your county games, and then all you have to have is your little card. But I do appreciate there is a view and an issue out there, and we'll see what we can do to smooth it out. But I have to say that one of the governance issues was about the fact that the use of cash poses its own difficulties from an accounting point of view. But I do appreciate what you're saying. And look, we're doing as much as we can to be as inclusive. So let's take the opportunity now on Highland Radio to say to people, if you have an older person in the house, why don't you buy them a club card as a present, which is something then they won't have to be concerned about if they want to go to a game anywhere. And also don't forget our under-21s are on Saturday. And Setanta are playing in Newry on Sunday as well, and a huge opportunity for them in an intermediate All-Ireland semi-final. So there's plenty going on still, even though it's the back end of the season.
Yeah, okay. Who said split season would slow things down? All right then. Mary Coughlan, thanks for your time. Best of luck in your new position. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Right, take care. Bye-bye. That's Mary Coughlan, former Tánaiste, of course, but now Donegal GEA's first female chairperson. Okay, back with more after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Gift sets by celebrity, by budget, or from the classic collection at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For the perfect present every time, visit mcgees.ie, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Make their Christmas electric with gifts from Currys. Get the Nintendo Switch OLED with Mario Kart 8 and 3-month online membership for only $349. Or save €50 on the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 with Bluetooth connection, now only $179. Shop in-store or online at currys.ie.
This Christmas, let TFI Local Link help you get into the festive spirit and bring you where you need to go. Use our regular rural and door-to-door services to connect with friends and family throughout the Christmas season, with many routes offering evening and weekend services too. For a full list of service arrangements, visit transportforireland.ie. TFI Local Link, part of the Transport for Ireland network.
Joe Gallagher Entertainment present the High Kings, Ireland's favourite folk group, bringing their Road Not Taken tour to the Mount Erical Hotel, Letterkenny, December 27th, Struhl Arts Centre, Omagh, 3rd of January, and Derry, 4th and 5th of January. Tickets on sale from the venue box offices and ticketmaster.ie.
I'm making a move. Looking for real choice? Leave diesel behind and make the move to Toyota Hybrid Electric at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. World-leading hybrid electric technology, lower emissions driving, with the widest choice of hybrid electric models from Ireland's best-selling car brand. With flexible payment options available, make the move today at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
There's big savings in big names for Christmas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, like Technic cosmetic sets from $3.95, Link sets from $4.95, Dove and Nivea sets also from $4.95, and there's great fragrance gift sets from all the big names at great prices. Treat a loved one this Christmas at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, or online at mcgees.ie.
Okay, the December Fisheries Council, at which next year's quotas for Irish fishers were due to be set, has finished in Brussels. A bit of a mixed bag, I suppose you could say, for Ireland in terms of pelagic stocks. There has been an increase in mackerel, but it's kind of like a reduction if you take into account the Brexit effect. 23% increase in blue whiting, 20% increase in burrfish, 20% increase in northwest herring, 17% increase in tuna, and finally a 23% reduction in Atlantoscandia herring. Okay, Aid O'Donnell is CEO of the Irish Fish Processors Organisation. What do you think of that? Decent?
Morning, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's our pleasure.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Obviously, for the Northwest, the key species of interest for our processors and vessels are mackerel, blue whiting, herring to a certain extent, and horse mackerel. And we have some increases in mackerel, but they've been offset by significant losses because of the Brexit transfer. We're all aware of the fact that the EU gave 25% of its quotas to Britain as part of Brexit. And incredibly, 40% of the value of this transfer came from Ireland. So we're still suffering from this. We're still suffering from a flawed common fisheries policy. And these things need to be addressed if we're going to have a sustainable fishery into the future.
And you believe this type, the type of increases we're talking of 60% in haddock, ETC, and what other stuff we've mentioned, you don't believe that is a positive sign for the future of the industry?
Well, it's the mackerel transfer from Denmark. It's a positive sign. It's a first step. It's a paradigm for what we need to do in the future. We need to work together. We need to have a strategy to reverse the decline of the sector. We have an amazing resource. We have a marine space that's 7 times our landmass. We have a very sustainable stock out there, but unfortunately, Ireland only gets 15% of this by volume. So that's not a fair deal. That's a deal that needs to be addressed. We have a situation of decline, continuous decline, failure of effective policy, essentially, and worse still, and unbelievably, we have, in the middle of all of this, access to foreign fleets from Norway that are not EU members.
All right, that
catch 3 times our quota in our own waters. Norwegian vessels out there.
Okay, the connection just broke down a little bit there. So, no, that's fine. We'll bear with it. So you talked of the decline, and we can put that into numbers as well. You know, this is not just fear-mongering, if you pardon the expression. You know, we can actually see where we're at and concerns that, you know, the worst is yet to come in the not-too-distant future, Aid.
Yeah, the problem we have is that the Brexit situation is not going away. But we have another series of cuts this year in our quotas because of the The reality is our sector has only grown by about 1% in GDP over a 5-year period, whilst the Norwegians, for example, have grown theirs multiple times at that level. And we really need to get our act together and form a strategy and a policy to reverse the decline.
Yeah, okay. Well, listen, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate your time. That's Aid O'Donnell there, CEO of the Irish Fish Processors Organisation. As I say, it is a bit of a mixed bag. There is some good news in there. Very interested as well to speak to others from within the fishing industry. Hi, Greg. Can you please ask Mary what's being done to properly train coaches at club level? Every single underage team is managed and coached by parents. Should parents be coaching or managing their own children to the detriment of other children? The win at all costs at underage is not developing real talent, but at underage, is there, I mean, you know, at the very young age, there isn't really winning as such, is there? I get where you're coming from. I just don't know who else does it. You know, and I see it myself. It's the parents that have that passion and come in, and it's not perfect, of course, but in small communities, you know, we know the communities that we're talking of. Who else is going to come in and give all the time that they do and boss people back and forward and make sure everyone's there and kitted out and all that type of stuff? I get where you're coming from, but if it's not the parents, who is it going to be, in especially in the smaller clubs? Okay. Right, let us take a quick break.
The 9 till noon show with McGee's Chemist Main Street, Letterkenny, offering a great range of digital cameras and binoculars for Christmas. McGee's, the photographic experts, where the best costs less.
Free 2024 Glossy Farming Calendar. It's one of the farming favourites of the year. Get your free IFA calendar only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. For more in this week's paper, here's Paul Mooney.
Thousands of farmers to miss out on acres places. Row over fallen animals escalates. Radical cut to fertiliser use proposed. And ICBF open store for suckler scheme changes.
This week's Irish Farmers Journal with your free Glossy Farming Calendar and Mockra magazine is on sale now. You cannot afford to miss it.
Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. Willow Warm Eco Briquettes, 100% renewable, 100% Irish wood. Buy 3 bales, get 2 fire logs free. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Millionaire Raffle from the National Lottery is back.
With €1 millionaire guaranteed and over €6.3 million in cash prizes to be won, it's the biggest ever. The draw is on New Year's Eve and tickets are limited to 600,000. The National Lottery. It could be them. Gift responsibly.
Join Barney's Tractor Run this Sunday 17th, starting at Begettigans Travel in Dromore, Letterkenny. Registration opens at 12 noon and the run kicks off at 2 p.m. sharp, followed by refreshments, music, raffles and more at the Lennon Lodge, Romelton. Entry is €20 per tractor with proceeds to Barney Gibbons Rehabilitation Fund. This ad is sponsored by the Northwest Truck Fest.
I've been looking after Mum for a good few years now. It's been hard at times. It's been difficult to find time for myself. I've even had to stop work.
You've worked hard caring for others. Now the state pension can work for you. If you've spent 20 years or more caring for a loved one who couldn't care for themselves, you can now use the time spent caring to qualify for a contributory state pension. Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at gov.ie/pension. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Whatever the weather this December, Letterkenny will bring a warm front to your shopping and great value for your pocket. Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK.
Okay, patches of light rain and drizzle and mist will clear later this morning, leaving a mostly dry day with some sunny spells, some sunny intervals developing. A few isolated showers are possible. Temperatures 8 to 10 degrees today. Now, a deal has been secured that will house a number of international protection applicants in temporary accommodation at Cavern Garden Bed and Breakfast, located just off the N15. Now, Cavern Garden is, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 kilometres the north side of Ballyshannon. 91 refugees, as I mentioned, described as adult male international protection applicants, will be housed in 29 rooms. We don't know how long they're going to be there, but we know there is a one-year contract to begin with, signed with the provider. Independent Deputy Marion Harkin joins us on the show now. Thanks for your time, Marion. I do really appreciate it. What's your reaction to this news? My initial reaction is that this is a very... You know, it's a very rural part of the county. Much of the county is. But anyway, do you have any concerns, or do you welcome this move?
Well, it was myself who brought this to the attention of the public through yourselves on Ocean FM. As soon as I received the information yesterday afternoon, I made a call immediately to check if there had been any community engagement, if anybody had been informed about this. And I was told that no, that there hadn't been. So I thought the best way to bring it to the attention of the public, as I believe it should be and it needs to be, is to alert the local radio stations, which is precisely what I've done, so that people know. Because we had a situation in Boyle recently, a couple of weeks back, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, where it was brought to the attention of all of the local public representatives that I think it was 18 or 20 young men arrived in Boyle into a building, and that nobody knew. They arrived at night and nobody knew anything about it. And people were annoyed that they weren't aware that this was happening. And when I got the notice then about Ballyshannon, about Cavern Garden, I thought the best idea was to let people know what the department have planned. And I believe, though I don't want to say this because I haven't been officially informed, but I've heard on the grapevine that there may be a meeting tonight. And if there is, certainly I will attend that, to listen to people, to hear what they have to say, to hear their concerns, because I've attended such meetings in a number of locations recently and tried to work with people, tried to work with community engagement teams, so that people are not left feeling as if they have, no proper information, and that nobody consults them in any way.
What reaction have you been getting since you made this public? As you mentioned, you believe there is a meeting this evening. What are the concerns? Because I understand why you feel it's important to get it out there, but obviously there's going to be an awful lot of people that will jump on this, and they may not even be people from the local area. I've already seen this flagged down as far as Cork and Dublin, and this is it. This is the plantation. This is what's happening in your area. And instantly, as soon as that information was out there, people are using it. Some might say abusing it. I don't know. That's up for individuals to make up their own mind. But were you conscious of that? You have to balance it up, do you? And you have to say, well, what's in the public interest versus a potential negative fallout?
Absolutely. And I think one of the best quotes I've heard in recent times was a quote used very recently in the Dáil, that this issue is being discussed in every house in the country except Leinster House. And 3 weeks ago, I, on Leaders' Questions, spoke very frankly to the Taoiseach, and I asked him as leader of the country to speak about this, to open up the debate, to let people know the reality of what is happening, because people don't know. And it's in a situation like that that lies and mistruths and other things can flourish. But the question, I suppose, comes down to, do the people of Cavan Garden, Ballyshannon, the local area, have a right to know beforehand if a number of asylum seekers are going to be located in their area? And my answer to that is very much yes, because at the end of the day, if 91 people are arriving next Tuesday, a week after, a month after, 3 months after, the community of that area are the people who will have to manage with this situation, live with it, try to find ways of managing it, not the keyboard warriors from elsewhere, or those who say that anybody who puts this information into the public domain is trying to stir up trouble. The last thing anybody wants is that. But the very least that any community deserves, in my view, is consultation,
and information. And I think if you read through the information, as far as I can see, what this scheme is that you come here as an international protection applicant. These fellas will be given a PPSN number and able to work in 6 months. We know even if your application is refused, there's no obligation on you to leave. You can just stay here. That's, you know, they say, right, you've been refused, but the majority, it seems, stay. I mean, what is actually our system here? Because it seems you come here, you can work after 6 months, and even if you're refused, you just crack on. And in the meantime, you get accommodation, you get a limited payment, but you can start working in 6 months. So what is the actual system? It seems to be pretty much just come here and that's it.
We have a system that is broken, and nobody is speaking about it, nobody is talking about it. And part of the reason for that is that as soon as you say that, you have people immediately saying, trying to stir up trouble, far right, all of these kind of phrases. When what we're trying to look at is a phenomenon that's been in other European countries for many years. I certainly seen that. When I was in Brussels for 15 years, I saw the impacts of it, and now we're seeing it in Ireland. We have a system, as you said, that doesn't work. I put in questions to the minister there recently about numbers arriving each year, how many were refused asylum, and how many of those were deported. And the figure actually is just under 8% of those who were refused leave to remain were actually deported. And nobody could give me any further information regarding...
Like, is the PPSN number revoked at that point? Are we still taking tax if they do happen to work? Are we still taking tax or providing benefits to people who know...
Again, I just got the raw figures. I mean, when you get figures, then after that you start to ask other questions, and I presume it is revoked, though I again would have to check that. But it's just that we just don't know what is happening. And the part of the problem is, in my view, that the conventions that we have in place for asylum seekers were put in place after World War II, when refugees came with barely the clothes on their back, walking hundreds, thousands of miles sometimes, trying to get to safety.
Yes.
Now we have a very different situation where people will fly in, some of the time with documents, some of the time without, some of the time they have documents before they arrive.
Well, they can't get on the plane. They can't get on a plane or a boat without documents. And some point between A and B, they're lost. Okay, listen, we might come back to you on this after the public meeting as well, but I do have to take a break for the news. We do appreciate you speaking to us, but I think there are basic questions that anyone's entitled to know. Like, for instance, like there's no other part of society where we don't have knowledge of except this, really. Like, I think if you lose the right to stay here, or if you're refused, like, is your PPSN number taken off you, or is it not, or what? Anyway, listen, thank you for your time as always. Take care of yourself. That was Independent Deputy Marion Harkin. The news is going to be a minute late. My apologies. We'll be back with more after the news and obituary notices.
Fill your stocking this Christmas from all the great gift ideas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show. See mcgees.ie or like McGee's on Facebook for a chance to win some great prizes.
Bhí me sa máile de márte caiite agus rinne me na rudí céanna éon an chuile lá, ach an sin rich smuoine bhlum I nniuan lá. Ní ra me maith mór an le dearnaí, ach bhí sagam go meach mo cháirde I gimmart bediste in nacht, agus thucra men teach ágáil agus tamil a chahan na gudeachta. Thug sé ardú crígham ma han cháirde ag ceall ríist. Dáire me bhaim an cúlódar.
Chéan tamil I ggólúdar daoine eile chun tarabhad ar cháinse a gcónaí. Beidir gúil sin am a chuirt ar an síl mór a ríist. Seachtareacht ó éar ar chláinsúil.
From the luxurious to the sustainable, beautiful Irish-made products that stand the test of time. Find something you love forever at madelocal.ie. Made local, made to last. Supported by Design and Crafts Council Ireland and me, Lyra.
You know me, I do like a home that's warm and cosy during these cold winter months. In fact, the warmer and cosier, the better. That's why I insist on Willow Warm long burning briquettes. They're grown and made here in Ireland, and they're 100% carbon neutral. So Willow Warm briquettes are good for the environment, for the country, and your pocket. Willow Warm, the brighter, cleaner, greener way to a cosy home. See willowwarm.ie for stockists.
Cooney's Christmas shop has gone mad this Christmas with massive reductions on trees and lights. 7-foot Colorado was $299, now only $129. 7-foot Prelit was $289, now only $199. 1,000 tree bright lights was $79, now only $39.99. Need battery lights for your garland were $7.99, now only $5.99. Hurry though, only while stocks last. Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, Letterkenny. Open 7 days and making Christmas magical.
Save 50% of all Christmas decor in-store and online at Homeland. That's 50% of all lights, 50% of artificial trees, 50% of garlands, wreaths, baubles and more. While stocks last, shop in-store or online at homeland.ie.
We've gone mad here at Highland Radio. Enter our car draw for a chance to win €1,000 every day in our Grand A Day giveaway from December the 11th to 22nd. We could be dialing your number. All you have to do is answer and you could be walking away with a cool €1,000. But here's the twist. If the prize isn't won on a particular day, it rolls over to the next day. It's a call you don't want to miss. Get your ticket at highlandradio.com now to be in with a chance to win. Grab your ticket for only €10 today.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. The Bishop of Raphoe, Alan McGuckian, has apologised for the sexual abuse carried out by a former Donegal priest. Eamon Crossan at Donegal Circuit Court yesterday pleaded guilty to the sexual abuse of a minor in the 1990s. Stephanie Rohan has more.
Eamon Crossan was a priest in the Diocese of Raphoe from 1976 and was removed from the ministry in 1998 on reception of an earlier complaint for which he served time in prison for. Yesterday, he then pleaded guilty to the sexual abuse of a minor in the 1990s. In a statement, the Bishop of Raphoe says he's deeply saddened and ashamed that an innocent child had to endure such abuse, especially at the hands of a priest who was in a position of sacred trust. He added that no words of his can atone for the suffering caused to an innocent person and to his family. Bishop Agoukian has apologised to the victim and his family. Anyone who has a concern or complaint currently or relating to the past is encouraged by the Bishop to contact the diocese and statutory authorities.
A Donegal deputy has demanded a special debate on health be held before the Dáil rises for Christmas recess today. This week, Deputy Pearse Doherty told the Taoiseach that patients and staff continue to suffer due to severe overcrowding in hospitals. He says it's a disgrace that the situation has been allowed to reach the crisis point it has.
We have elderly patients in my own hospital in Donegal who have been unable to get a hospital bed, forced to wait for 36 hours in a hard chair without a second of sleep during that period. And all the while, the CEO of the HSE, the most senior civil servant in the Department of Health, and even the Fiscal Council have warned that our health service has been underfunded by your government for next year. It is absolutely disgraceful. It is a crisis point.
Well, responding, Leo Varadkar, while not agreeing to Deputy Doherty's request for a debate, instead outlined the recent funding announced for health.
Deputy Doherty asked for a debate on health and raised the issue of health funding. Would just like to mention that Cabinet approved the revised estimates vote and has allocated an additional 92 million to health, which will include funding for new drugs in 2024 and also funding for the Fair Deal to make sure that we don't see an increase in delayed transfers of care within our hospitals. And that's in addition to the supplementary agreed only a few weeks ago.
The number of cases of RSV remains quite high. Almost 1,000 cases were reported last week and 800 this week. The HSE is worried about the number of cases in newborns and children aged 4 or under. Dr. Ciara Martin from the HSE is urging people to be mindful around babies.
So for parents, they probably won't be bringing their babies out to crowded places. But if you're visiting people over Christmas and they have a small baby, respect what the parents ask you. We all want to kiss and cuddle babies, but if you have a cough or cold at all, don't. And always wash your hands before you pick them up.
A Donegal funeral director has warned of a deeply insensitive scam doing the rounds. Scammers have begun setting up fake social media pages purporting to provide access to a funeral live stream. However, to access the stream, people are being requested to submit credit card details. Sean Murphy from Inishowen Funeral Services says he has been contacted by people as far away as Australia who have come across the fake pages. He says charges will never apply to access funeral streamings.
I'd be asking people to be very vigilant. If it's not on the funeral director's page or the likes of rap.ie or the website or Highland Radio's obituary, it's not legit. It's an absolute disgrace. And as I say, streaming is always free. Nobody asks for credit card details and then they chap out and then they get there and it's just the lowest. But the reality of the thing is, we don't know where this is coming from. It could be anywhere in the globe and it's getting very regular now.
A motion to twin Derry with Bethlehem is to come before Derry City and Strabane District Council. Councillor Catherine McDade says the proposal is intended to show solidarity with the people in Bethlehem and victims of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. She says Derry and Bethlehem share many similarities as both cities are no strangers to conflict.
I'm sure everyone would agree Derry is the city of civil rights, and I think that we have come through so much and come so far that we should be standing up for other cities and towns and communities going through similar experiences.
Weather now cloudy with patches of light rain, drizzle and mist this morning. This will clear, leaving a mostly dry day with some sunny intervals developing. Highest temperatures of 8 to 10 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, you can keep up to date with the latest local news on our website highlandradio.com. Good morning. The obituary notice says for this Thursday morning, December the 14th. The death has taken place of Dennis McElroy, 109 Ernie Road, Strabane, formerly of Lower Main Street, Strabane, reposing at his home today from 3 o'clock to 9:30. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow morning at 9:20 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 10 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on melmountparish.com. The death has occurred of Mary McHugh, née Donovan, Dreenan, Ballybuffet. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live on the parish YouTube channel. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, to the Irish Heart Foundation of Ireland, care of any family member. Family time from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock and on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Neil Tolan, 11 Millbrae Meadows, Carndonagh, formerly of Coventry, England. His remains are reposing at his late home. Funeral leaving there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time from 11 o'clock to 10 o'clock. House private on the morning of the funeral. Funeral can be viewed on churchmedia.tv. The death has taken place of Paddy McGrath, Scribbly, Letterkenny, formerly Strabane. Paddy's remains will be reposing at his late residence today from 2 o'clock until 10 o'clock, with rosary tonight at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow afternoon at 12:30, going to St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, for 1 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in New Lex Cemetery. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. And the death has taken place of Katie McConalogue, née Long, 558 Ardmacul, Stranorlar. Katie's remains will be reposing at her late residence today from 11 o'clock until 10 o'clock, with rosary tonight at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in the Old Cemetery, Stranorlar. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to Brindley Manor Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
This Christmas at Super Value, we have great offers to help you share the magic, like Super Value Signature Taste Fresh Irish Hampshire Ham Fillet, 1.4 kilo, only $10.99. Selected fruit and veg like carrots and Brussels sprouts, 49 cents each. Plus, get money off vouchers every week on the Real Rewards app too. Share the magic this Christmas with Super Value, in store or online.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. Thank you very much if you're after joining us as well. Right, our competition today, of course, all this week, it's in association with our friends at McGee's Chemist. It's one for the boys. Today we're giving away 50 millilitres of Christian Dior Savage EDT spray. And of course, the daily winner goes into the draw tomorrow for a hamper worth over €500, courtesy, as I mentioned, of McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny and at www.mcgees.ie. Now, the hamper up for grabs tomorrow contains a Clarence Christmas hamper, a blank canvas 12-piece gold makeup brush set, a large blank canvas purple 3-piece gift set, a Be Perfect muted palette, a Jimmy Choo ladies fragrance, and a 20 by 16 gallery wrapped canvas, so you can have your favourite photo wrapped in canvas and ready to hang on your wall. So we have 3 daily qualifiers already. We want our 4th today. The daily prize is a 50 millilitre Christian Dior Savage EDT spray. Now, if you want to be with a chance to come on air and answer a simple question, and if it's not simple to you, I will try my best to make sure you win. Wink, wink. All you have to do is send your name, where you're from, and your number to 086 60 25 000. Now, you can do that on WhatsApp or you can do it on text. So if you want to come on and answer our question, it's a piece of music that you have to unravel with a Christmas theme, then just send your name, where you're from, and your number right now to 086 60 25 000. WhatsApp or text, whichever you prefer. One of you will be selected completely at random to come on air, answer the question, and you will win 50 millilitres Christian Dior Sauvage GDT spray, and then you'll be in the draw tomorrow with a 1 in 5 chance to win that brilliant hamper, well worth over €500. Check out mcgee's.ie, by the way, for their ideas for Christmas. Let me see. Right, I know which one I'm going to pick today. It's a very famous Christmas song, arguably the most famous. But anyway, later on today, someone is going to get a call if they bought a ticket for our car draw. And everyone who bought a ticket, of course, is in the draw for that car. But also, just as a thank you, as an addition, we are also giving away €1,000 a day. We've got a bit of a rollover going because we had 2 unanswered calls. It's $3,000 later today. So if you can, have your phone ready, answer the call, and it's as simple as that. You win $3,000. So that's coming up at some stage later on today. Right, so let's get to some comments here before we go to Thursday's bingo numbers. I know a lot of you waiting because it is jackpot day. A caller says, I'm not far right and I'm sick of being called it, but we want our towns and hotels back. The anger amongst ordinary people is rising. The government is changing the culture of this country forever. Allow us the respect of consultation. If it's a busload of young male asylum seekers, then they will likely be Algerian, as that seems to be the normal trend nowadays in Ireland. But there is no war in Algeria, so why are they coming as refugees? We, the Irish people, do feel that we're being replaced by foreign nationals refugees. Why is our government so keen to implement this EU scheme? Why are they betraying the Irish people? Why will no one answer the question? Why is it all young males? Where are the women and children we're all made feel guilty about? Great having a meeting after the decision is made. Well, listen, primarily, it seems that obviously if people are coming from Ukraine, it's women and children. If they're international applicants, then they're most likely to be young men. It's easier for them to travel, we're told. It's harder for older people, for single women or women with children. It's harder for them to travel, so that's why we see young males. That's what we've been told. I'm not a racist, and I see the need to take people fleeing from war into our country, but putting 150 people into a small village like Drumkieran completely erodes the Irish culture of the area. Our culture and way of life in rural Ireland is what we are renowned for by tourists. Once that's gone, it's lost forever. Distribution of immigrants must be in proportion to the area into which they are being placed. The current government policy will only stir up unrest and play into the hands of those with more ulterior motives. But is there an ulterior policy? Good morning, Greg. Leo Varadkar said that if they have consultation with the community, he said, but they aren't asking for permission, so basically they do as they please. And you know, I've heard Roderick O'Gorman say something very similar to that we have these people coming in. We do have to accommodate them because that's what we signed up for. And that means that they are going to be placed in every corner of the country. That's effectively what he said. There was no apologies in relation to that. Greg, where are all the jobs in rural Ballyshannon for these men? I don't know the answer to that question. Yesterday on RTE News, when discussing the topic of carbon emissions, we should ditch the petrol and diesel cars and buy an EV. The commentator said that the average price of an electric car is now 30 grand. Is this true? Because any cars I've seen are at least 40. Where are these cheap EVs? There are cheap EVs. You see them advertised for around about 29, 30 grand. That seems to be the price of a new car, petrol or diesel. So I don't know. I don't know what the story is. It's not something I know enough of to comment, and I generally tend, if I don't feel like I know something, to not say anything. This is an interesting one here just before the break. My son was on holiday in Gran Canaria last week. His son, who is 3, lost his cochlear implant, and that's a hearing aid. It was found at the airport, Las Palmas. Is anyone in the Donegal area that is flying to Gran Canaria able to connect it? The desk is open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So there's a cochlear implant. It is a hearing aid, effectively. It's been left in Gran Canaria. anyone out there going over there and coming back, or even over there at the moment, that would be able to pick it up, it's at the desk, which is open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Or even if anyone knows flight crew who fly to Las Palmas who could get it to Dublin or Belfast, and we could collect it from there, any help would be greatly appreciated. That comes in from Geraldine. It's a random one, and listen, maybe we'll hit on someone. Do you know any flight crew that go in and out of Las Palmas? Are you or someone you know over there at the moment? This young child needs, obviously, their hearing aid back, and it's not easily switched out from one to the other, okay? So as I say, it's random. We might get lucky. We might hit on someone, but please, if you can help, get in touch with us, and we will pass your details or put you in contact with that person. We've got some live music coming up, by the way, for you at 10:30. Stay tuned for that a little after 10:30, there or thereabouts. That's all on the way, but first we take a break for the bingo.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 14th of December, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €6,600 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S9. It's game number 50. The jackpot number is 85. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers: 34, 45, 55, 67, 19, 77, 43, 23, 72, and finally 4. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
That magical time of year once more, with mince pies and pudding and treats galore, taking pride of place by the twinkling tree. All you need to know about the season's TV. A world of entertainment wrapped up inside. Christmas begins with the RTE Guide.
There's something about this time of year that makes you want to be near all the things that remind you of your favourite Christmas. When you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, you want to be near the people you love and the things you love. So we're better to get that Christmas feeling than Letterkenny Shopping Centre. There's free parking, extended opening hours and great gifts for everyone on your list. Add in a visit to Santa, you'll have Christmas all wrapped up. Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Christmas just around the corner.
If you're doing some shopping today and fancy taking the weight off your feet or forgetting about having to cook when you get home, take a seat at Kelly's award-winning diner in Letterkenny and select from a menu that's packed with great value, family favourite choices. Relax over a coffee and sandwich, maybe a bite of lunch, something for dinner, or a treat from the dessert menu. Great food and great service every day at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Looking for the best place in the Northwest to get a bed or mattress? Restex Beds and Mountaintop Letterkenny has a great selection and great prices. Restex Beds has everything you need for a good night's sleep. Visit them today and sleep better tonight.
Think outside the box with your photos this Christmas for canvas prints, Instablocks, mugs and photo books at mcgee's.ie. McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Welcome back. We go to the chair of the Falcara Tourism Traders Association, Manus Kelly. Manus, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
You are struggling out there, aren't you? Water off again. What's going on and what impact is it having on the local community, Manus?
Well, that's what we don't know. We're trying to find out, and we're getting no answers. That said, it was off yesterday morning. Now it's on in Falcara today, but there are certain areas it's not on. But there's a big effect on. We went through this a number of years ago, and it was off for the businesses, and a lot of them just had to close because you can't do tea, coffee, restaurants, pubs. The bars couldn't do, dishwashers and all that type of thing. And it has a massive effect on businesses. Now, thank God today is back on again in Falcara and Gutahawk, but on the high areas it's off. And it is affecting people, in their domestic houses and that.
And is this a problem that comes and goes, or is this just a one-off recently? I know you referenced an issue some time ago, Manus.
Yes. It was off some time ago, a number of years ago, but they put in a new system in Ardsbeg, in the water treatment area there, and it cost millions. And this is the last thing we expected, and this is the second time it has been off. And it was off last month as well, and we get no answers from Irish Water. They're not coming back to us, and we just don't know what's happening. And above all times, this time of year, businesses are nervous because when it goes off now, it really has a big effect on them.
Of course it does. This is a really, really important trading time.
It's a very important trading time. It's important any time of the year, but above all times, coming up to Christmas, bars and restaurants and that is a massive effect on them.
All right, Manus.
It's a simple tea and coffee, and petrol stations and all that. It has an effect on them as well.
Yep, for sure. Listen, Manus, thanks for that. We're going to stay with the issue, though. We're going to go to local councillor Michael McClafferty. Good morning to you. As we heard there from Manus, who put it really, really well, Michael, we have some water back in some areas today. What is the story? Are you getting any information as an elected rep as to what's going on?
Morning, Greg. Morning, listeners, Manus. No, I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing at all satisfactory, to be quite honest with you. Nothing, Greg. And this is the problem. Manus is quite right there. What he's saying is on today, all right, as I understand, from Carrowtown and got Hortown, as he says himself, and that's true. But the higher areas then, anywhere in high ground then, it's not happening. Not happening at all. So they are effectively going into, at this stage, they're going into almost 48 hours at this stage, Greg, without any water. This is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. They're on their second day without water. There's home helps going around there. There's difficulties. There's people sick. There's usual stuff going on, domestic stuff going houses, small kids, so on. Their children going to school, can't get no access to water. This is unacceptable. And Irish Water, once again, are not coming forward, not coming out of the shadows, saying what's going on as such. As Manus referenced, there millions are spent on that plant in Goodahork. And I come back to it again, I'll say it how it is. That plant in Goodahork is not functioning as it is properly, and this is what is causing the problem. For example, the 29th of November, the went off there as well on the 29th of November. Actually, the reason for that happening, Greg, was on the 28th of November, the plant apparently started giving trouble, which was the day beforehand, obviously. So as a result, then on the 29th, then with the plant not functioning properly, people were still able to get a certain amount of water, just free flow and so on where it was, and that resulted then in the reservoir then running dry. This is crazy in 2023 that these kind of situations can happen. This is happening now again this morning, or this last 2 days now, and we're second day now without water for many people there. And Manus is right. Everybody's a nervous wreck. I'm a nervous wreck myself because I don't know what the next phone call is going to bring. But while Irish Water are blanking me, they're not acknowledging what me, apart from sending a text message to me there in the last week, which I never got before.
So just to be clear, outside of the area, this seems to be stemming from technical issues at a new plant.
Yes, at a new plant that millions were spent on. If you recall, Greg, you were on this last year too. At the time, it was like around Christmas Day, New Year last year as well. The same situation was going on. At that time, there was parts missing for the plant. There was stocked in, and it was actually apparently was the case. So some of the parts are going to take months and months to get.
I remember now. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I do remember clearly. The lack of communication, though, that you see, I mean, you know, whatever about individuals, people do go out and vote for local representatives like yourself and the rest in the area. And they would expect, and you would expect, to be a link between a service, a public service, really, or at least partly public service like Irish Water, Uisce Éireann, and the general population. It's not really acceptable, I don't think, the apparent lack of communication with the likes of yourself and others who could disseminate that information to the wider population. You know, I think the public deserve answers here, and Irish Water need to explain why they're not providing those answers.
100% right, Craig, and the public elected me and 5 others in the area to do that actual job representing them. And as we said at the moment, I'm sitting my second day. I cannot represent the people around the area myself because I'm not getting information to pass on to them. It's not acceptable. I've had many conversations with Irish Water on the phone and so on this last 2 days with this, email and so on, and we're just getting nowhere. But the big thing is here as well, you talk about the communication. The problem is as well between Irish Water at the local rep support desk and the local teams here in Donegal. There's a communication there problem as well, because back November time it was, yes, I discovered then back in November when I was on to them, they were actually making contact to the engineer on the ground at the time that they couldn't get. The engineer on the ground at the time, Greg, was off and still is off on his own respective business on long-term leave. So the local rep support desk were not notified that the engineer in the Falcarra area at that time was off on his own private business, and he's off for some time on sick leave or whatever the case may be, and he's off, and they're not aware of that. And they're telling me then they can't get the engineer. That's why they couldn't get him. This is how ridiculous it is, and this is where there's clearly a breakdown in communication. I've asked as well since last August for a meeting with Irish Water, what the officials in relation to Falcarra town in particular, Godhork in particular, there Killock and around that area there where it breaks down quite a lot there is problematic as well. Around the glass houses there as well, and Killock there ongoing business as well there. But again, the water are tampering things as well.
The thing is, what I don't understand about it is, it's just like I see. Go ahead, please, Michael. I just need to move it on, but sorry, I don't want to cut across you. Go ahead.
Sorry. So when we started asking for this, I started asking for this meeting back in August. I got a call then Tuesday morning. I talked Tuesday morning from the Irish Water rep support desk. Did I still want the meeting to go ahead? Like the days of Christmas, requesting for it back in August. The bottom line is, Greg, sorry to hold up things. The Irish Water management, point blank, are refusing to meet with myself and my 5 colleagues here, and this is the problem. We want a face-to-face meeting with themselves, not Zoom, not emails, not others. We want a face-to-face meeting into the room in Falcarra town, somewhere of their choice, and see what is going on, and particularly see what is going on in this water plant in Godhork.
The thing that concerns me is that, unless I'm missing something, is that they've announced, they'll announce water bursts, they'll announce low pressure for repair works, but I see no reference to Falcarra at all on Irish Water's website to suggest that there is no water there. So why not? So why do they announce problems in Ballyshannon, problems in Killybegs? Let's see where else there are issues in the Ballybofey area. But I don't see any reference to the area that you're talking of, Falcarra.
No, there isn't.
So why, when the water goes out there, why is there no information at all? As I say, they've posted about Baleek, Killybegs, Ballybofey, other areas in the last 2 days, but nothing about this problem. Why? What's unique about this problem that there's no information at all? Very strange.
Well, what's unique about here, as I was saying to Caroline there before, but to yourself there, the problem is every time that they record a bus pipe or a water outage in Falcarra, and I say this time as the plant itself is giving the trouble, every time they record a water outage, Craig, that gives reason then, gives more leverage to myself then and my 5 colleagues then, there'll be Falcarra, let's make a word, to push then for more funding. And this is the reason why a rep outside the county from Irish Water told me that you need to have a stack up of breakdowns or no water to get pushed up the ladder for the funding. So while Falcarra has not been mentioned on the website, there's no record of it. Whatever the reason,
no record, no problem. So in other words, it's not prioritised. Listen, in relation to that, anyone affected by these water outages should be logging an issue or complaint with Irish Water, and then we can sort of, if we got a sense that 20 people had and there was still no record of it, we'd know something's amiss. Okay, Councillor Michael McClafferty, keep us informed, of course. Manus Kelly, thank you very much, both of you, indeed, for that.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Chanel, Flowerbomb, Lancome, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne. Where else but at McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny, this Christmas. Sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Free 2024 Glossy Farming Calendar. It's one of the farming favourites of the year. Get your free IFA calendar only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. For more in this week's paper, here's Paul Mooney.
Thousands of farmers to miss out on acres places. Row over fallen animals escalates. Radical cut to fertiliser use proposed. And ICBF open store for suckler scheme changes.
This week's Irish Farmers Journal with your free Glossy Farming Calendar and Mockra magazine is on sale now. You cannot afford to miss it.
The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mazzell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour with their award-winning live show. See The Three Amigos live. Conry Hotel Letterkenny, Tuesday, January 23rd. Tickets, priced €35, are now on sale at the hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where extra charges may apply.
Happy Christmas from the Three Amigos!
Everyone loves going to the cinema. That's why an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher is the perfect Christmas present. They aren't just for kids, but all the family. Even little Miss Hard to Buy For. We all have one of them. And when you buy an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher, you now get 10% extra free. Available on our Bundoran and Lifford Strabane cinemas or at eclipsecinemas.com. Vouchers don't expire and can even be used for dine-in screen options and VIP cinema experiences.
There's no show like a Joe show. And now the Dolan family bring their spectacular Joe Dolan night to the Villa Rose Hotel on December 28th. Sensational tribute acts Bruce Springsteen and ABBA take place on January 19th and 20th. Tickets from hotel reception and online at villarose.ie.
Tweedore and Glen Swilly will contest the Donegal Under-21A Football Championship Final this Saturday. Join us on Highland from the 2:30 throw-in at the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny for full live match commentary. Coverage from the Donegal Under-21 Football Final is in association with Gilday Farm Butchers, Old Town Road, Letterkenny. Cook in the bag turkey breast with pop-up cooking timer now available to order.
Hugo Boss, Victor and Rolf, Dior, Marc Jacobs and Carolina Herrera. Where else but at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, where you'll find the biggest names in perfume and aftershave this Christmas. Sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
An bhfuil tú ré le haid dríoch speisialta. An bhfuil tú ré don chimhre im lá clia. Íhananta níos fuide nuair a chuirtar beocht sa chathair. Agus spirit na féile le brath I ré bhí na nullag. Sulla do sín an chóirh síos de éilean na bliana uair im lá clia. An áit is fearr le bheith nar a bhfuileann an clog an meáníthe. Mar sin, chur cláusear ar an mlíon im lá clia. Cur do phleanad le céile níis ag visitdublin.com. Winter in Dublin. Tá dríoch down. Ochar ar fáil ag fáilte Ireland.
At Tesco, we're helping you become more Christmas. Mix and match with 3 for 2 on hundreds of meats and cheeses, like Tesco Finest Barrel-Aged Feta. Don't forget the crackers. Our Board B approved Finest Certified Irish Angus Centre Cut Fillet Barrel, now half price. That's a mouthful. And wine worth a toast to the host, like Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc, now €10. Tesco. Every little helps. Club card required, subject to availability. Cheapest product free. Available in most stores. Prices vary in express stores. See tesco.ie. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
New this week in Home Store and More. All fireplace accessories are all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price fireplace accessories are gone, they're gone. Also, all Casual Living barware accessories are still half price. But when all the half price Casual Living barware accessories are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Frascati Centre, Blackrock, Dublin. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Sporting gifts this Christmas. Try Brian McCormick Sports. BPE boxing gloves and accessories. Unicorn dartboards and cabinets. BCE and Riley fold-away pool tables. Click on bmcsports.ie to see the new range. High-vis running jackets with high-vis hats, vests and accessories. Garmin watches to keep you on track. Give the gift of sport this Christmas. Try a BMC Sports gift voucher.
Could you train the next generation of skilled workers? If you're a qualified tradesperson, you could become an apprenticeship instructor. Join an ETB team who share your passion and will get you up and running with opportunities nationwide across construction, electrical, engineering, motor industry and more. And with flexible work-life balance and a very competitive salary, why not apply today at apprenticeship.ie, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Whatever the weather, Christmas shopping in Letterkenny will brighten your December. The Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Rightio. Early this morning will be cloudy with patches of light rain, drizzle and mist. This will clear southeastwards later this morning, leaving a mostly dry day with some sunny spells. A few isolated showers are possible. Temperatures today around 8 to 10 degrees. Okay, it's live music time because we have Great young band in studio with us. They are Curzo. Kieran, help me out here.
Curzo, yeah.
Curzo, that's what I said, isn't it?
Yeah. Curzo, yeah, you got it, Craig.
Listen, it's good because it's memorable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so
once you
memorable.
remember it, but once you remember it, you won't forget it. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got Kieran Doyle. You're the singer-songwriter. You're on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
We have Cahir Doyle on drums. You're never out of the place, Cahir. You're a regular now, as is Kyle Warner, lead guitarist. Good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us. How long have you been playing together, Kyle?
I started playing. Used to play it first with Adam Grady and them.
It was a couple of months ago. Yeah, we were on Snugfest, and then we signed up Kyle as well.
Good stuff.
I started playing
to be part of the band.
Ago.
You found each other, all right. We're also in studio with Frankie McGreevy, who's our generation manager with the Donegal Youth Service. And talk to us about how you ended up working with these guys on this project, Frankie.
Well, we ended up working with these guys last year. And well, it might even have been earlier than that, but a year and a half ago. First time I met them was just out of lockdown, and they were on their way to go and see Oasis play, Liam Gallagher in Belfast, and they told me they couldn't play Party in the Park because they had to go watch Liam Gallagher, and I says, well, you can do both. So they ended up playing Party in the Park in the morning, going to see Liam Gallagher in the evening. That was the Fades. But Kieran here, he's big brother of Cahir, and then Kyle together, so there's a kind of a mix between the Fades and between Curzo. But last year, Curzo, this man here, Kieran, wrote an amazing song called Anxiety, and we were like, you know what, that would really work as a project for youth work.
I think we had that live on this show as well, yeah.
You did. So we worked in partnership with the Connecting for Life project, which is a project connected with HSE, directly related to the National Office for Suicide Protection, so that mental health element. So the idea is that we get that message out that around helping young people deal with their mental health, and it's obviously, when it comes naturally from the voices of young people themselves, it makes it much more powerful.
Well, it's relatable too. It's not insignificant where the message comes from.
Exactly, very important.
Of how it lands.
You hear the voices from your peers, so it's a natural partnership between Donegal Youth Service, the Connecting for Life project, and these guys.
Because no matter how it looks, everyone goes through times where things are a bit, Do you know what I mean? It's just how you cope with them.
Definitely, definitely. And these guys get it, and they're the most important element of that partnership that I've been talking about.
Right. So we'll chat a bit more. We're going to be doing two Kiazoo. So what should we do first? Do you want to do the track we're talking about, or something else?
So we're gonna start with Stay and Play.
Mm-hmm.
It's a song about going through a tough time, and about basically the message is that it's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to put yourself out there. And again, with the success last year, as Frankie said, with Anxiety, Connecting for Life and Donegal Youth Services have asked us again to record a song with them through Paul Mini Studios. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and we really appreciate it. And like, for me, my music helps me with my mental health, and I want to help other people by putting it out there and showing that it's okay to talk about these
and as a
things.
songwriter, you can just put it down, and that's cathartic, isn't it?
It's very therapeutic, actually.
All right, go ahead then. Let's see what you have.
Yeah, so here's Stay and Play. Scared to love someone that doesn't even like themselves. Can you miss someone that you have not even met? Drugs and booze and girls and shoes, hugs come with good and bad news to show that we are never alone. So take me back to that alleyway and help me make the same mistakes, 'cause from that pain I have learned. Don't shy away, I'm not a child today. Don't let fear hard to love someone that doesn't even like themselves. Can you miss someone that you have not even met? From drugs and booze and girls and shoes, hugs come with good and bad news to show that we are never alone. So take me back to that alleyway and help me make the same mistakes, 'cause from that pain I have learned. Shy away, I'm not a child today. Don't let fear stand in the way, because I'm here to stay and play.
Well done, lads. What's that one called again?
That one's called Stay and Play.
Very good. And that is the song that was commissioned, of course, by the Donegal Youth Service and the HSE. You must be delighted with that, Frankie.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. I love the dynamism of it and the class, natural songwriting style. And of course the backup of the boys, you know, and the single itself has been recorded by Paul Mooney up in Mooney Studios in Ramelton, Mooney Sounds it's called, and so, you know, I'd love to send business his way. If any young bands or any bands at all are interested in getting their music recorded, he's first class.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
You'll know all about it. And he records our stuff too, so I know all about it.
Yeah,
you know.
It's really easy to work with, and that song is actually on Spotify and Apple Music and everything now.
Brilliant
as
stuff.
of today. So it's nice to get on here whenever it's out and just
and it's really quite exciting, isn't it, to be part of a creative process and then having it there. It's just there for forevermore. Then,
yeah,
I mean, in 10 years you might go, oh no, but I don't think you will.
Nah,
you know what I'm on about? But at least
incredible
it's there now. Like, it's such an achievement, and to be able to have that access to a global market, and you just never know. You'll end up sort of checking the stats and getting random peaks in South Korea or something. That's the kind of stuff happens, isn't it?
He was telling me he got paid €25 by Spotify last year, so he must be one of the only people in the world who's ever been paid by Spotify. So I'm very impressed.
That's remarkable. I was watching an interview with Snoop Dogg, and he's had over 1 billion streams, and he got 40k.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Spotify, the amount of money those boys are making, and you get someone like Snoop who's on every track and writing credits on so many tracks, and he get 40,000
I know
euros.
it's
so
insane,
to get 25 quid,
Here,
I would
really well.
I wouldn't cash it. That would be, I would be putting that in a frame. Maybe it didn't quite come in the post like an old school check, but you know yourself. Right, so we'll get a bonus track out of you. We might as well squeeze another one. What do you want to do, Kieran?
So this next song is a song that we've released as well a few months ago. It's called Pierre the Teddy Bear, and it's another song about mental health, about how somebody can look happy like a teddy bear and not always feel that way inside.
Yeah, which is cool. Because a lot of artists now, if you've noticed, a lot of male artists, and I'm looking at you, Lewis Capaldi and others, a lot of the conversations to be about we've split up, but you know, I'm still around. Don't forget me. You know, I find it's a bit coercive, a lot of the stuff that's out there too. So anyway, that's a bit random. But if you listen to the tracks, Dermot Kennedy's stuff, a lot of it is,
it's all
I don't want you to get over me, or I'm still, you know, in the background, which I think is a little bit. But anyway, that's besides the point. Your stuff is far more productive. And you know what? Our mental health is everything anyway. Anything you write about is always sort of interconnected in some way or other, isn't it?
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Okay. So what did you say it's called again?
It's called Pierre the Teddy Bear.
And it's also on Spotify as well.
It's also on Spotify.
All right. Kieran Dole, Cahir Dole, Kyle Warner. Take it away, lads, when you're ready.
I was as happy as Pierre. He doesn't seem to have a single care. William's all he thinks about until he drove straight through that roundabout. We all have dark times, we all have blurred lines. It's how you deal with the pain. Pierre the teddy bear looks nice, but be aware, he's got a broken heart. 'Cause someone broke his fuse, so please don't get confused. That's where the problems start. Yeah. Now Pierre is living on the streets. Yeah, no need for food to eat. As he goes about committing crimes, William is entering his prime. We all have dark times, we all have blurred lines. It's how you deal with the pain. Pierre the teddy bear looks nice, but be aware, he's got a broken heart. 'Cause someone broke his fuse, so please don't get confused. That's where the problems start. Pierre the teddy bear, 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 Pierre the teddy bear. Right yesterday, remember yesterday, right yesterday. Pierre the teddy bear, Pierre the teddy bear, Pierre the teddy bear.
Excellent stuff. That's very good.
Thank you very much, Greg.
It is very good.
Thank
Well done, guys.
It's a good song. Right. So the Stay and Play, the song that was commissioned. So what's the mechanic here, if you know what I mean? It's great that it's there. It's been released and all that. But what are you?
What's the mechanics? Well,
Yeah, so is it just to get the message out there?
Yeah,
Is it,
well, it's-
or is there a, somewhere you're pointing people, or what's the crack, Frankie?
Well, we're pointing people towards the Connecting for Life Connect project in general. They're offering out suicide awareness training across the board. So the CEO wanted me to mention that. Also, the Donegal Youth Service itself, our mental health resilience programs that are there. You mentioned I was the Our Generation manager. That project's just finished up, but I'm still a manager in the Donegal Youth Service. And out of the Our Generation project came the Illuminate project, which is also a suite of mental health programs that we're offering to school-aged children and to parents and key contacts. So just to anyone out there listening who maybe has young people who are struggling with their mental health or even themselves as adults, they can get in contact with Donegal Youth Service, and we can organise training, and we can organise one-to-one help through our listening service.
So just in relation to that, because often what happens is you have someone, maybe listening at home, and they've a teenager in the house, and they've noticed a change in them, or they're just not connecting the same way, and maybe they have communicated that they're struggling a little bit. Are your services for people like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I think that's really valuable, because you can feel so helpless as a parent sometimes, because you want to do everything, but then sometimes you wonder, well, what actually can I do?
Yeah, well, we have our intervention initially is a listening ear service.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's just being there to hear the stories of the parents initially sometimes, and to build that relationship, and then to hear the stories from the young people directly. And then now, since we've been doing that for 20 years, but in the last 3 years we have diversified in that we also offer cognitive behaviour therapy. So there's 6 trained therapists within the Donegal Youth Service. I'm one of them, and we can offer that 8 to 10 week protocol where we take them through the CBT.
Which is
program.
tooling people up to deal with stuff, isn't it? Really, you're
they have to be their own. You train them up to be their own therapist.
Yeah, to empower them.
So they have the tools, and after 8 weeks, they head off. And I've just finished off with a client there yesterday, and it's a great feeling. And when they look in the eye and they say, "Yes, I'll be okay now. I have the tools. Thank you." You know.
All right, and Kieran and Cahir and Carl, but Kieran, I'll ask you, the mic's in front of you. In terms of performing and what have you, what are you doing? Anything coming up people can look out for?
Well, we have a gig coming up in the Bridge Inn on the 28th of December. So
where's that?
It's in Dunlow. Bridge Inn in Dunlow.
Okay, actually, so yes, I know it. It's a good spot, that.
Yeah, so it's a band called The Notions that have organised it. Both the Kierzo band and the Fades are both supporting for The Notions there, and so it'll be a great gig and full of great fun live music all surrounding about mental health and whatnot, and just having fun.
Yeah, it's great to see places like the Bridge Bar and there are many others supporting it too and giving a platform and a space as well.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
we're blessed in that there is some genuinely brilliant talent out there. You are well amongst them as well. All right, listen, it's been lovely having you in. A strong message. Good to get the info from you as well, Frankie. Kierzo. Kierzo, I know.
Oh, good.
But it's just one of those things that once I've said it wrong once, that's me.
I completely understand.
CIRRZO, by the way, if you're looking for them on Spotify. Let's see if we can get them up to €30.
Yeah, exactly. This time next year we'll be laughing.
Retired,
it's onwards and upwards.
Money sorted.
Kieran Dole, thanks very much. Well done.
Greg.
Clearly very talented, as is Cahir, of course, as you know, and Carl doing lead guitar there as well. That is classed as lead guitar, is it?
I suppose, yeah.
It is. All right, good stuff. All right, thanks it's not Monday night sessions, I'm bluffing here. All right, listen, thanks. They're bluffing as well themselves, let's be honest. And Frankie McGreevy, thank you very much indeed as well. Okay, that is it for now. Back with more after a break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas delivered to your door, or order online and collect in store. Visit mcgees.ie.
Come along to the ESIS Centre on the Donegal Derry border. We are providing something special and something different. Right next door is our Celtic prayer garden. Walk around and enjoy the peace. The children love it. Then come over to the ESIS Centre and try some of our delicious food. We have an organic farm and plenty of events planned on the run-up to Christmas. The ESIS Centre will really put the heart in your Christmas.
Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. Valcas Energy Wood Pellets 10 kg, buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Kiln-dried softwood logs, buy 2 bags for €14. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Employers, Clever Cards is the only Irish company where you can order digital MasterCards online. Instantly email digital Clever Cards to your employees or contractors. Anywhere, anytime means late delivery never arises. Clever Cards are saved in your mobile phone, so you always know your balance. Small and large businesses use Clever Cards because they are accepted everywhere. Online and in-store using Apple Pay or Google Pay contactlessly. First €1,000 tax-free. Order online now from clevercards.com. Clever Cards MasterCards are issued pursuant to Clever Cards interbank agreement with MasterCard. E-money's accessed with Clever Cards MasterCards are safeguarded and regulated by the Central Bank under EU Payment Service regulations. Clever Card is certified by Apple Pay and Google Pay. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
At Centra, we've got amazing Christmas cracker offers from now until the big man arrives. Centra Fresh Hour smoked or unsmoked hand fillets 1.8 to 2 kilo, €10 each. Inspired by Centra chilled party food 2 for €8. And Eagle Hawk selected wine €8 each. Perfect for Christmas. Shop smart, feel festive at Centra. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
The season of giving is here. Why not treat yourself or someone special to a used car at iMotors?
With the largest range of used cars in the Northwest, over 25 brands to choose from, and up to 12 months warranty on all our vehicles.
Visit our showroom today in Drumkeen or Malin and test drive any car.
Open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Or visit imotors.ie.
Can you put in a request for Peter O'Toole, Sinead O'Toole and their son James O'Toole, who are in the car heading to Lapland, excited to meet Santa? Happy Christmas to everyone. Wow, what an experience. I hope you're still within earshot of us. Have a wonderful, safe trip. What an experience. I think it's on lots of people's bucket lists. Excuse me. Hi, Greg. Any chance you could play My Generation's version of Last Christmas by Wham, please? We're coming in to play it live with you on the 22nd. We'll leave it with me. I think next week we're going to be introducing a little bit more music to the programme as we ease. Well, I'm trying to convince Caroline that it's Christmas week, isn't it? Next week's Christmas week. We want to chill a bit, don't we? So we'll be switching up the conversations. Obviously, if anything needs to be covered, we'll be covering it, playing a little bit of music and so on and so forth. So, hey, I'm looking forward to the My Generation crew coming in to see us. So leave that with us. Right. The 21st Christmas hamper draw in aid of the Little Blue Heroes is taking place this Friday. Margaret Coyle, who's been doing an amazing job on the raffle, as she does every year, will be in the Letterkenny Shopping Centre today from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. She's in there now. Hopefully you're listening. Margaret, hello. And if you see Margaret, will you tell her that you heard her name mentioned on Highland Radio? She's in there selling tickets between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. I'm sure the wonderful people down at the shopping centre will look after her. There are some fantastic prizes to win while supporting a very good cause. It's the Little Blue Heroes. They do amazing stuff. We know that, don't we? So Margaret calls down there in the Letterkenny Shopping Centre. She's there till 4. Buy a ticket if you can. Tell her we all said hello. Okay, that's good. And I've done that request there as well. Let me see. Great interview with Mary Coughlan. Very well spoken, very clear and to the point. Thank you. Thank you very much for your feedback on that. It's appreciated. The government says no to farming, no to fishing, no to free speech, no to protesting, no to diesel, petrol, potentially no to cash. Does anyone see a pattern? Welcome to China. I don't know. I don't think it's quite as dire as you make out. But then again, who am I to say? That's your opinion, and you're more than welcome.
And now, IMRO's 2023.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. It's time for a news update, and it's good morning once again to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Today marks the first anniversary of Private Sean Rooney's death in Lebanon. The 23-year-old was killed during an attack on UN peacekeeping duties. A wreath-laying ceremony took place on Sunday in Newton Cunningham to mark a year since Private Rooney's death. The trial of Mohammed Ayad, who has been accused of the killing of Private Rooney, is due to get underway tomorrow. The lack of community engagement over the housing of asylum seekers in Ireland has come in for criticism once again. 91 asylum seekers are due to be housed in 29 rooms in Cavan Garden near Ballyshannon. A one-year contract is understood to have been signed. Leaders from across the European Union are arriving in Brussels for a major two-day summit. Taoiseach Léir Varadkar is among them, with Gaza and Ukraine high on the agenda. Hungary has strongly resisted Kyiv's bid to join the EU and its pleas for aid. A Donegal deputy has demanded a special debate on health be held before the Dáil rises for Christmas recess today. This week, Deputy Pearse Doherty told the Taoiseach that patients and staff continue to suffer due to severe overcrowding in hospitals. He says it's a disgrace that the situation has been allowed to reach the crisis point it has. A Donegal funeral director has warned of a deeply insensitive scam doing the rounds. Scammers have begun setting up fake social media pages purporting to provide access to a funeral live stream. However, to access the stream, people are being requested to submit credit card details. Donegal farm families, farmers and food producers are to benefit from the establishment of an agri-food regulator. The regulator was set up to bring fairness and transparency to the agricultural and food supply chain. And a motion to twin Derry with Bethlehem is to come before Derry City and Strabane District Council. Councillor Catherine McDade says the proposal is intended to show solidarity with people in Bethlehem and the victims of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed. The podcast went out last night. Didn't get a chance to listen to it. Might try after work today, but it's available now. It went out live, but it's available now to listen
back to online. Yeah.
So you go to the listen back section of
Playback.
Do I have to do all the hard work?
Playback section.
Is it called listen back or playback?
Playback.
Right. That's where you listen
upload
to this
to
show.
every day. Yeah.
I know, but you know yourself when you do it every day. Okay, so it's available for you to, and just give us a quick synopsis of the episode that's up there.
So,
at the moment,
last night's episode was the untold stories of Donegal women during the revolutionary period. So we talk about the likes of Ethna Coyle, how her campaign went on in Donegal, and the women that were kind of going about their everyday lives and like were subject to kidnappings, head shaving, for being associated with a cause. Very interesting. The work that Caroline put in is unreal.
Fantastic stuff. All right, listen, it's available for you now in the listen back playback section of our website. Okay, very short break. We'll be right back with more.
Betty Morgan talks about her son.
Eamon was one of life's givers. When he had a sudden brain hemorrhage and sadly died, his organ donation helped 2 people transform their lives. It's consoled us so often. Eamon was a giver in life, and to now he's a giver of life.
Organ donors save lives. Make today the day you decide to be an organ donor and let your family know your wishes. For more, visit hse.ie/organ donation from the HSE.
Okay, the Agri-food regulator has been established, and it promises, the promise to Donegal farm families, farmers and food producers is that they'll get the protection necessary to ensure they get a fair deal for their work through the regulator. Niamh Lenihan is food regulator CEO. I don't know why I keep saying food regulator CEO. Niamh, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you hear me, Niamh?
Good morning. Thanks so much for the invite.
Okay, thank you. That'll settle itself down. There's a slight delay, so I'll know to leave a gap. Okay, so talk to me about the function of the Agri-food regulator.
Well, again, thank you for the invite here this morning on a topic that's of interest, of course, to all listeners in terms of, our understanding of the agri-food supply chain. So, Unreal Agri-Via, or the Agri-food regulator, was set up to promote fairness and transparency all along our agri-food supply chain. So we're going to do that in 2 main ways. In the first instance, we have a price and market analysis and reporting function. And essentially that means shining a light on the agri-food chain about how it works, etc., and producing reports on that. And in that way, enabling in particular producers and farmers inform their decision making. And second of all, we have an enforcement function in terms of enforcing unfair trading law. So overseeing compliance with unfair trading practices.
So just an example, if I produce potatoes, right, and I'm not happy with the amount of money I'm getting for them, I believe that that I should be paid more, yet at the same time they're being used by a local supermarket chain as a loss leader. They're being sold for what I'm being paid for them just to get people in through the door. Is that something the regulator could look at, and how might it look at it? Or if you want to pick a better example, feel free to do so.
Well, thank you. Yes. Well, our role is, as I said, to promote fairness and transparency. So we're shining a light on how the agri-food chain works. And I suppose in particular how the price formation mechanisms work. So as I said, we will be publishing reports, etc., on that with the direction, of course, of the Agri-food Regulator Board. But I suppose if I may talk about the unfair trading practices, I suppose in particular, so there are 16 of these. There are 10 that are prohibited in all circumstances, and these relate, for example, to the late payment for agri-food products. So in general, perishable products must be paid for within 30 days, non-perishable 60 days. There are other practices that are prohibited, such as unilateral changes in contracts. So, breaking a contract or changing a contract at short notice, etc. And then there are other items that are prohibited unless expressly agreed between the supplier and the buyer in advance. So examples of that include payment for promotion, marketing, advertising. So we are the body set up to oversee these compliance with unfair
Okay, so just
practices.
to be clear then, so how, in layman's terms, sorry, because I'm just so I can get it, how do you make sure that farming families, as is promised in this press release, get a fair deal? I would have thought a fair deal means proper payment for what they produce. So how do you ensure, or do you have the remit to ensure that that happens?
Yeah, well, we are going to undertake the remit that we were given through these two functions. So it's about adding fairness and transparency, or promoting fairness and transparency. So, for example, from what you're saying there, the whole idea of the regulator is to shine a light on that agri-food supply chain, how it operates, as I said, the price formation mechanisms at each stage. So there's a number of stages between the producer and the consumer. There is quite a lot of information at the production side, and less so as you go through the different stages, for example, towards the consumer. So our job is to shine a light, fill those gaps. So obviously engage extensively with actors in the food chain, as I said, to fill those gaps. And that is the way that transparency and fairness will be promoted in the chain.
All right, so we will know, say, for instance, if I produce a product, it costs me €1 to produce it, and it's sold in a shop for €8, you're going to shine a light so we know how that money is broken down, whether a factory's involved or a third party's involved. You're going to show us that. How does that help the producer?
Yes. So the idea is that, as you say, it's shining a light on each stage of the food chain. Well, of course, it will help the producer in terms of informing their decisions. Mm-hmm. So, it's necessarily a chain. So all of the links in the chain need to be sustainable in their own right. And it has to be fair, obviously, to be sustainable all along the chain. And there's interdependencies here, obviously, all along the chain. So by shining a light and increasing the amount of market information that there is across the chain, all businesses will be better informed in terms of their decisions, and that's the whole purpose of the office, in increasing transparency.
Yeah, okay. Now, and also to other sort of other protections in place, right? So, say for instance, I'm a producer, and I don't want to be frozen out, okay, because I won't do a deal with a retailer that's a disadvantage to me. Do you know what I mean? So, in other words, at the moment, people might be doing deals that keeps their head above the water, but they're not good deals for them in terms of what cut they're getting of the overall price. So, how do we ensure that these regulators don't actually make it more difficult for some of these producers if they won't play ball with the next link up the chain or the top of the chain? Are there any further protections in there to make sure that this won't have a counterintuitive effect?
Well, what we have at the moment are these 16 unfair trading practices, and essentially, in a nutshell, they are there to help balance the bargaining power between buyers and suppliers. So the suppliers have protection in terms of where their turnover is less than that of the buyer, and the buyer's turnover is over 2 million. So these suppliers actually have the protection of these unfair trading practices. The Agri-food regulator, in turn, has significant powers in terms of investigation powers, but also it doesn't have to be essentially on the basis of a complaint. The Agri-food regulator can and will have boots on the ground in terms of these also.
And just one other question, and I know it's early days and things are being teased out, but part of the aim of this is to ensure that producers get fair reward and a fair price. So is there anything in there that, so they say that is to happen, there's nothing in there that means that it won't get passed on to me, for instance, as a customer, or maybe a supermarket might absorb more of that? That's just up to the market to decide, is it? There's no, you don't have any regulatory authority in that regard?
No, as you say, our job is not to do with setting prices. Our job is to promote fairness and transparency across the agri-food supply chain. As I said, increasing the amount of information that's available, and in doing so, inform businesses of providing more information for businesses and on which to make those decisions.
And do you see your role having any impact, say, for instance, on the reintroduction of a below-cost selling ban?
We don't have any. It was certainly something that was spoken about as the legislation was going through the legislative process. Our remit is not to do with below cost selling, but as I said, in terms of the transparency side of this and providing more information on the agri-food chain, there will be more understanding with this information of the challenges that are present within the agri-food supply chain today.
I'm just, again, I'm not picking holes in it because it has to be. I'm just curious how that helps the Donegal farm families, farmers and food producers, that we might have more awareness. Like, I know already that there are people producing products that are a sale down the road for less than they're getting paid for. I'm just curious as to how all of this and all of the people that are employed to do it means that that person producing that product gets more money.
Well, as I said, we're not involved in the setting of prices.
Right.
But obviously the main benefit here is that there is more information available on which decisions are made. So our job, and we're set up to promote fairness and transparency. And there are other items that we haven't talked about that are in the Act as well, such as codes of practice and guidelines and those sort of tools that can help to increase the understanding of challenges along the food chain. So these are yet to be explored, and they will be explored in conjunction, obviously, with the strategy that will be set in the coming months through the board.
So just finally, in your position, as has been outlined, you're confident that at the moment, if Donegal farm families aren't getting a fair reward and aren't getting a fair price for the massive work that they do, that in the future, because of the establishment of this regulator, they will start to get a fair reward and a fair price?
No, I am confident that the Agri-food regulator will promote fairness and transparency in the agri-food chain.
You won't ensure it as per the press release, though, no?
Well, yes, it's promoting fairness and transparency, and in doing so, increasing the fairness along the food chain. It has to be understood as well that in terms of Irish produce, we're an exporting nation in terms of much of our agri-food products. So, when you talk about price, it's not only what happens within these borders, obviously. We've significant export markets that impact on the price as well. But we can look at those price formation mechanisms and understand them better. And that's what our job is.
And I suppose our job as consumers as well is to make decisions, with that information that you talk of. Yes. And I'm not, I hope you don't think of being argumentative. I just want to really have an understanding of it, because we're right at the beginning. We're right at the beginning of this, and then I have this information for going forward. But I mean, at the end of the day, we have to make decisions as consumers as whether we support or shop local or whatever it might be that helps promote the fairness and the reward. Okay, listen, it's been lovely speaking to you, Niamh. Thank you very much for talking to us so early in this process. We really do appreciate it. Maybe we can come back in the future when everything's bedded in a little bit more and we have, scenarios that we've seen play out and what have you. I'll look forward to that chat as well. Is that okay, Niamh?
Absolutely, and thank you very much for the invite.
No, thank you for accepting. That's Niamh Lenihan there, food regulator CEO.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Gift sets by celebrity, by budget, or from the classic collection at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For the perfect present every time, visit mcgees.ie, sponsors of today's 9 till Noon Show.
It's time to transform your smile with the help of Blue Poppy Dental, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Their expert team offer orthodontics, teeth whitening, implants and composite bonding all in-house. Start your journey by calling 074 97 40404 or easily book your appointment online at a time that suits you through their user-friendly patient portal. Available anytime, anywhere at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Gift vouchers available.
Guidor and Glenswilly will contest the Donegal Under-21A Football Championship Final this Saturday. Join us on Highland from the 2:30 throw-in at the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny for full live match commentary. Coverage from the Donegal Under-21 Football Final is in association with Gilday Farm Butchers, Old Town Road, Letterkenny. Taking orders for Christmas turkeys and hams or joints of beef and lamb.
Where's the party? Hi, it's Declan Derny here, bringing our mighty nationwide concert tour with my special guests John Hogan and Owen Mack on Green and Theatre, Letterkenny, Saturday, December 30th.
This Christmas at Super Value, we have great offers to help you share the magic, like Super Value smoked salmon 300 gram half price and 19 crime soft block only €8. Plus, get money off vouchers every week on the Real Rewards app too. Share the magic this Christmas with Super Value, in store or online. Enjoy alcohol responsibly. T's and C's apply.
Celebrate the season of giving with Gallon Hotels. Give the gift of a 4-star Donegal hotel experience. From spa days and dining delights to overnight escapes and health club memberships. Visit Villa Rose, Jackson's or Kirch Hotel online to purchase and give the gift of happiness this festive season.
Save 50% of all Christmas decor in-store and online at Homeland. That's 50% of all lights, 50% of artificial trees, 50% of garlands, wreaths, baubles and more. While stocks last, shop in-store or online at homeland.ie.
You could own a brand new car worth €30,000. Someone will get a call from Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon show on December the 22nd. Simply go to highlandradio.com, click on the car link, answer an easy question and buy a ticket for €10, 6 for €50 or 10 for €80. Highland Radio's Great Car Giveaway.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
Okie doke, the time is 11:19. Now, as it's written in the papers today, I'll read it. Groups of feral youth and organised gangs are causing an explosion in crimes against retailers. This was what was heard at an Oireachtas committee. They descend like a plague of locusts and rob to order. Tara Buckley, the Director General of Retail, Grocery, Dairy and Allied Traders Association, which represents over 3,500 local shops, said. And Tara Buckley's with us now. Tara, that's incredibly strong language. Feral youths, a plague of locusts. But it obviously must be pretty serious to be using that terminology.
Unfortunately, Greg, it is. And that's one of the reasons, I suppose, is we survey our members who are supermarkets and convenience stores all over the country every year. And we have noted that year in, year out, the problem is getting bigger and worse. And the people that they're dealing with, who are only a tiny percentage, I have to emphasise, of their customers. I mean, most of our members are local community shops, and their local community are fantastic customers and appreciate them. And our members really appreciate the customers and their staff, and they want to make their shops a safe place for people to come and enjoy the experience and for staff to enjoy working in the stores. But we've had a problem over the last number of years, particularly since COVID, where we seem to be dealing with a very small minority of really angry people, and they are making life very uncomfortable and stressful for the workers in the stores and for the other customers.
Do you think this is culture? I don't know what the right word is, but there seems to have been a breaking down of respect for things like, amongst certain people, the Garda, ambulance, fire service, retail. Do you think they're all sort of interconnected, that it is post kind of COVID, that, you know, you go in there and you can sort of say whatever you like and you know, they can like it or lump it?
Well, there's definitely a certain age group who seem to think they're completely untouchable. And I certainly believe that for them, when they come into shops and steal things, they do it very openly. They abuse the staff if they confront them. So, and even though it's a small minority, if it's happening in your store every day, it's very stressful for everybody working in the store and for the other customers.
So they obviously are fearless. They don't fear being challenged on the premises, and clearly, obviously, they don't fear being apprehended or taken before the courts or facing any sanction. So what is the solution then?
Well, we believe that given that there's serial shoplifters who are adults, and what we need with them is we need the sentences to be carried out. We need them to be, we believe that serial offenders should see prison sentences for their offences. So we would like to see that to be carried out in the courts. And then for the young people, we believe it requires probably some type of a task force between education, justice, social protection and enterprise to look at what are the reasons why these kids have got out of control and what can be done collectively to address the issues and causes and make, turn them into nice model citizens, which the rest of their community are.
I mean, I'm sure you've heard the argument, and it's the easiest one in the world to make, is to sort of flip it onto the cost of living crisis, or these are just people that can't feed themselves and they're desperate and that's why they're doing this. Do you subscribe to that at all? Do you think that's a driver in any of this? I mean, I presume we're not talking about baby milk and nappies being stolen here.
Greg, the 3 retailers who were at the committee yesterday said that the reality is what's being stolen is nothing to do with cost of living crisis. What's being stolen is alcohol, cigarettes, personal care, high worth items. And that's just from the stores I represent, who are food and convenience. What's been stolen are mobile phones, fancy runners, jewellery, in the other types of retail setting. And it's adding up to 1.6 billion in terms of costs to the retail sector. So, and this has been happening since, for the last number of years, it's just been growing year in, year out. So we don't believe it's anything to do with any cost of living crisis.
No, and I think in any society, whatever it is we need to have respect for each other, because once that is gone, once there's no fear, once that, retail and the workers in it primarily would be my concern, of course, once they're seen as fair game, or, it's almost like a victimless crime, you start to see the breakdown there of something that could have far-reaching ramifications across all of society. As I say, I know you're quick to point out it is a minority, but yourself, these things can take hold, if not countrywide, certainly in a city or a part of a city or what have you.
Yes, and the other concerning thing for our members is that they see some of these people starting in their stores as very young children. And they watch and they see them grow, and it may start off as robbing a few things, and then it escalates to arriving in the store with a knife or a weapon. So they believe that if this could be nipped in the bud and tackled when they start at a very young age, it could actually help them not to go down a pathway of crime and go down a better pathway. And that's really what their motivation is. I presume there's a frustration in that. Listen, we know the Gardaí are under-resourced. They land after the fact. CCTV footage, someone with a hood, I don't know. It could be really quite easy to say, well, this is very difficult to police. Also, do we really need the prisons or whatever it might be full of people that are involved in this activity? You need really Drew Harris, it's his job really, or the Justice Minister, whomever, to come up with a solution to this, an appropriate punishment, a deterrent to break the cycle, clearly, because there's a cycle. I do it, I say, hey, it's handy. I tell my mate, he does it. And then I'm thinking, well, why should I miss out? I do it. So you need something from Drew Harris and his team really to take this seriously, say this is 1.6 bill, which is more than we way more than we seize in drugs, for instance, in this country, right across the country annually. You need a plan of action from Drew Harris, I take it. We need a plan of action from Drew Harris. We need a plan of action. And I'll be very honest, right around the country, RG Data members are they're very supportive of their local guards, because we're all dealing with the same angry, aggressive people. So we understand how frustrating it is for the guards as much as it's frustrating for the shopkeepers and their staff. So we are very supportive of anything that can be done to improve the resources for the guards. Visibility of Gardaí is hugely important. Every member of ours who operates in towns and villages, cities, if there are guards around, everyone feels safe.
And how simply that works is if you believe there could be Gardaí on a main street, someone leaves the store, a member of staff just steps outside the door. It's a fantasy now at this point, but there is a couple of guards or a guard 100 metres up the street. They give chase. In other words, that would be a deterrent. You can see very quickly how that would break a cycle. But without that visual presence of An Garda Síochána, the people responsible, no, they're gone before a guard even lands.
Absolutely. And then the other frustration for the guards is they put together a case. Our members help them. We put the CCTV footage. We make the statements. We take a day off work to go down and stay down at the courts. And the judge may give them a slap on the wrist or probation or, bail or whatever. And they just walk out and they could be back in the shop robbing it later the same day. So that's a frustration for the guards and the shopkeepers that we would like to see the courts address. We also think that it does require something extra for the younger offenders, those who are underage. We believe that requires something and a bit of thought put into that. Now, there was a suggestion at the committee yesterday that there was a system put up in place in the States, like a community court system, which was something where you could be brought the next day to a local community court where you would be, and it would be dealt with very quickly. So there wouldn't be the long delays you have between putting a case together, arriving in court, and having it's a long process, and it's quite a complicated and time-consuming process. We believe something quicker, more impactful, and it doesn't need. It's not we're talking about going to prison, but what we're saying is that the crime has a consequence.
Well, look,
so that becomes a deterrent.
At the end of the day, if someone is on a wrong path, we have a moral obligation, not necessarily to call them scumbags and finger them for the rest of their lives, but to put them on a better path, to say that's not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't want this to be the behaviour for the rest of their lives. They deserve a bit of guidance. I think we owe them a bit of guidance that might be lacking in their lives. Tara Buckley, Director General of RG Data, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Take care of yourself again. Is that a problem for you out there if you're a retailer, a shop owner? A petrol station drive-offs as well, I'm sure, is an issue as well. Sometimes we do it by accident, other times maybe not. Could you give a mention to Cockhill School for the great show they put on in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel last night? A great production of The Lion King. The children were all fantastic, and a thank you to Elizabeth O'Donnell for all her hard work. There's two things going on there. People like Elizabeth O'Donnell putting in the hard work, and the amazing talent we have right across this county and country. The young people, give them a chance and they know how to do it. We've had 3 young lads in here. I mean, they're not spring chickens anymore, but in singing, you have to give them a platform and an opportunity to perform, and it's great to see it. Morning, Greg. Could you give a mention to Daniel Kearney, who turns 91 this weekend? He's an avid listener to your show. Many thanks. Daniel Kearney, good morning to you. Thank you so much for listening, and it's great to have you on board. And turning 91, it's not so bad, is it? It's okay. Daniel, if you ever want to chat on air, come on, give us a ring. We can have a talk as well. Don't just listen to the show, Daniel, be the show. Is there an update on the little girl in Dublin? How is her health? Yes, there is. In fact, her mother said that she's a battler, and they hope to have her off intensive care before the end of the year. And she was gravely ill, suffered very severe, a tiny little body of hers stabbed. It's absolutely heartbreaking. But apparently this girl is a fighter, and her mother was optimistic that she would be out of intensive care by intensive care by the end of the year. So we've fingers crossed that turns out to be the case. Right. Kilger joins us on the programme now. I think it is Kilger. Good morning to you.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Right. Your comment on our last topic there, which we're still on, of course, about crime, young people and crime.
Yeah, consequences. There is no... I don't know if you know, I worked as a Garda Reserve for 12 years, but there's no consequences for kids anymore. I mean, they don't seem to... And I know for a fact, because I've been there, they don't care. They know nothing's going to happen to them. They don't care. And I would put it down to parents. I mean, do the parents, should they have consequences? If anybody under 18 doesn't have any consequences apart from a slap, not even a slap on the wrist, they're told, don't do that again, and that's it. You get a warning. They get warning after warning, and they don't care. And it's the same. Unfortunately, people can turn around and say this, that, and the other, but it's the same ones all the time.
Yeah, and it's the lack of fear of consequences. And to the point, too, and I've seen it, whereby they've been in court, their picture coming out of the court, it might be on Donegal Daily or Donegal News or the Democrat or wherever it might be, and there's no shame in it. It's almost, for some, obviously, it's almost like a badge of honour.
Exactly.
Whereas to you or to me, it would feel at least for a time that everything was over. Do you know, that sort of a way? But where does your mind have to be that you'd see that as, yes, I've made it? You know what I mean? So it's scary. I find it scary, worrying. I find it worrying.
It is worrying. But maybe this is just a suggestion. Maybe, as I say, if anybody under 18 basically doesn't have to worry because nothing's going to happen to them, maybe their parents then, and maybe it should be financial, because in this day and age, I'm afraid the only thing that people seem to...
Money talks.
And if you make parents financially responsible and it comes out, I don't care what, where, when. People say, people are on the breadline, they can't afford it. If I get a fine, it doesn't mean to say I can afford it.
I don't disagree with you, right? But I think, I think I always would favour a carrot and stick. If we were to do that, and I wouldn't be opposed to it because I think it would be a good idea, but we also then have to support parents, okay? So say, for instance, we go to the parents of a child that's in doing this behaviour, and they're desperate themselves or whatever it might be, that we also have supports for them. And I mean, in other words, like, work with them to say if the child needs to be on a program or something, or maybe they've got issues in their life and they're not able to focus on the rearing of their child or whatever it might be. Like, I know what you're saying, and it would be, you would imagine it'd be a short shot fix, blame the parents, but I think at the same time too, sometimes where it would be appropriate, you need to also have supports in there to support parents, maybe, because you don't, if you're driving a car, you do 12 courses, you have to go through a couple of tests, you get your car right. There's no training for having a child or for when it turns into a teenager. You're sort of left to your own devices. Do you am I being too wishy-washy, or do you think there's any argument in that favour, Kilgore?
Part of me understands exactly what you're saying, but there's a big part of me inside. Like, I had nothing apart from what my parents taught me. I raised 2 kids, never were in trouble in their life, never had trouble with them because they knew if there was going to be trouble, they would have me to answer to and their mother more than anything. But I never had to. I never had any bother. I absolutely understand. But
they always respected you. I bet you, Kilgore. They always respected you, though. So if you said something, they go, right, okay, Dad. Or if your mother did, you know what I mean. So you would have established that respect from an early age, that they wouldn't want to disappoint you or upset you. And I think that's a great currency in trying to discipline children is if they understand the impact their actions might have on you or their relationship with you.
But you do go, like, I have been to parents, and we have gone in and talked to the parents, and the parents don't. You have a fiddler's elbow.
For right or wrong, and I'm not blaming anyone, okay? But for right or wrong, there's an awful lot of criticism of the Gardaí and their authority, and you can't tell me to do that, and I'll do what I like, and I can do whatever I want. And in fairness, a lot of it's coming from adults. And as I say, I know where that's coming from, and I'm not in the blame game. But there are younger people that hear that are influenced by that and go, well, maybe that's just the way it is. Maybe the guards are useless. Maybe they're the arm of a state. Maybe I don't need to respect them. And I just think maybe sometimes as adults, we have to understand that, even whilst we might be campaigning for something we're important to, there is a next generation and a generation after that consequence sometimes. Again, maybe I'm down a rabbit hole there, but I just think a lot of this seems to stem from the disrespect from Gardaí when they were forced to impose a lot of the COVID restrictions, for an example.
Well, I have to say, I worked during COVID and all that, and it was always the same section of people that you always had to hassle. A very, very small minority. Most kids are fantastic. There's no problem as far as dealing with the guards, no hassle. As far as being at night time when there no problems at all, it was always the same section of people for some reason that seemed to give the hassle. And as I say, I worked with guards, and I mean, I have to say an awful lot of them went out of their way to try and help kids, but you might as well have been talking to a wall between the parents and everything else. They just didn't want to know. They didn't want to know. It was like, I used to work in a pub, and we used to say that you would get children that coming in, and I used to say they're free range. The parents would let them run all over the place, and you had to tell them, look, be careful of this, be careful of that. And then you would get other ones that, they looked after the kids, they kept them beside them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And no matter what you would say to these people, there are certain people, they just, I don't know, they just don't seem to get it. And I genuinely think that parents, and it has, unless we change something to do with under 18s, I don't know if that would work, but parents have to pay the price. And
I mean,
maybe
a lot of the conversation now is, and it's very justified, and that's why we platform it, is about the threat and the fear of what could come into this country. And I just wonder if it suits us sometimes to turn a blind eye as to what's happening in this country, not by people that have just come here, but by people that live here all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying one replaces the other. Don't get me wrong, but like we seem to.
I agree
when
with
you look at the amount
Right.
of children that are seeking support through Childline, and the awful cases of abuse and people being caught out trying to meet kids and abuse them, and how women are being beaten in the home, and how men are being coercively controlled in the home, and all of that kind of stuff, and how some of our young people are acting out. And we don't talk about that. It kind of doesn't suit us to talk about that. We find it far more easy to talk about a perceived threat than the reality that's on the ground. Again, I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to tease out a conversation if it's worthy of being had, Kilgar.
There is an awful lot that has gone on, but I genuinely think, and I know was in Garda Síochána in particular, between domestic violence and abuse, they are really going out of their way to focus on it. But it doesn't seem to matter what they do, they're being condemned left, right and centre. I would love if some of these people that are condemning the Gardaí done what I done, went out, not just for 1 day or 2 days, went out for a while at different times to see what these young men and women have to contend with, and I mean, they're not trained for it, that's for sure. Maybe they should be trained better, but I mean, some of the things that you have to listen to, have to do, and again, if they go out and they see it's always the same people, and it's people, it's Irish people. I don't want to put that. Most of it's Irish people that are doing all the hassle. If you know what I mean, it's not people that are. I'm sure there is always people coming in, but it's not people coming into the country.
There's bad people. If you get 100 people,
there's bad people everywhere.
If you get 100 people, there's a percentage of them are going to be bad. Now it's a low percentage, but it doesn't matter where you come from, whatever. You know, I mean, you get a random 100 people, and I mean, and if you look at, I won't get into it now. I don't want to be but let's say, for instance, the prison population of Ireland. If you look at the prison population of Ireland, it's actually proportionate to the breakdown of Irish versus non-Irish versus, a lot of the non-Irish are English, for an example. But if you look at the percentages, like say, for instance, of those incarcerated, it's around about 14% are non-Irish. Okay, and a lot of people have been saying, oh, that's disproportionate, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the percentage of the population that's non-Irish, it's actually 17%. So the prison population very slightly underrepresents, if that makes sense, but if you take the 14% in isolation as the prison population, it seems like a shocker, right? But if you then actually compare it to the population of Ireland, 17% are non-Irish, most of them are English actually rather than from anywhere else, it just talks to my point that you get 100 people, doesn't matter where they're from, there's going to be a certain percentage of them are not going to be good people or going to be committing crime. All right, Kilgar, thanks for that. Appreciate it. A lot of some people agreeing with you. I don't. It seems quite obvious. But anyway, listen, we'll get more comments as the morning wears on. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Take care of yourself.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with McGee's Chemist Main Street, Letterkenny, offering a great range of digital cameras and binoculars for Christmas. McGee's, the photographic experts, where the best costs less.
Free 2024 Glossy Farming Calendar. It's one of the farming favourites of the year. Get your free IFA calendar only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. For more in this week's paper, here's Paul Mooney.
Thousands of farmers to miss out on acres places. Row over fallen animals escalates. Radical cut to fertiliser use proposed. And ICBF open store for suckler scheme changes.
This week's Irish Farmers Journal with your free Glossy Farming Calendar and Mockra magazine is on sale now. You cannot afford to miss it.
'Tis the season to be jolly, and Letterkenny Retail Park is spreading the joy. Join us on the 16th and 17th of December between 12 noon and 4 p.m. for some festive fun. Discover mischievous elves spreading holiday cheer on our Christmas treasure hunt, filled with amazing prizes. Keep the celebrations going with our extended opening hours, so you can shop till you drop. Don't miss out on the fun. Mark your calendars, and we'll see you at Letterkenny Retail Park.
At Aldi, we've got cracking Christmas offers throughout the store. 20% off all specially selected wines. And super savings every day with Aldi's Super 6 Fresh Fruit and Veg, now from only 39 cents, both from December 7th. There's €40,000 worth of Aldi gift cards to be won with Holly Lane Christmas Mini Bites and fresh whole Irish turkeys for an incredible $8.99, on sale December 20th. So what are you waiting for? Aldi, share the love this Christmas. Terms apply. Visit aldi.ie for details. Get the facts, be drink aware, visit drinkaware.ie.
Order your new 241 Suzuki with 0% finance from Barry Brown Cars Milford, main Suzuki dealer in Donegal. Order your 241 Suzuki, one of the most reliable and cost-effective brands on the market, with 0% finance on selected models. So get down to Barry Brown Cars Milford, Suzuki Sales Dealer of the Year, and secure your 241 today.
Harkins have been providing customers with quality fireplaces, stoves and electric fires for over 30 years. And now you can experience the elegance of luxurious worktop from Harkins. Their experienced craftsmen can fabricate marble, quartz or granite worktops to your specification. So, if you're planning a new kitchen or bathroom or upgrading your existing one, Harkin Fireplaces can provide a quote for your quartz, marble or granite worktop. Visit their showroom in Ballybogan, Lifford, or call 9141109 or visit them online at harkinfireplaces.ie.
Rocking around the Christmas. Okay, we're back. Right, so Kate, it's time for our competition in association with McGee's Chemist. On this week's show, we've got a hamper worth over €500 to be won, courtesy of McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny, and McGee's.ie. In it, a Clarence Christmas hamper, a blank canvas 12-piece gold makeup brush set, a large blank canvas purple 3-piece gift set, and Be Perfect muted palette, and a 20x16 gallery wrap canvas so you can shove your mug on it and stick it on the wall. That's tomorrow. Every day, though, this week, we're giving away a lovely perfume or a spray. Today, it is a 50ml Christian Dior Sauvage EDT spray. Who's going to take part in the competition today? I think it's going to be in Manor Cunningham, and we'll go to Mary Sweeney in Rooski. Good morning to you, Mary.
Hi, Greg.
How are you feeling, Mary? How are you getting on?
Yeah, go on.
Are you on do you be on the radio much, Mary, or is this your first time? Or
No, not really, no.
Okay, very good. And what are you doing today, Mary, may I ask?
Just getting Christmas ready here, getting everything organised here, getting presents wrapped and different stuff.
But probably the only time you get a bit of peace and quiet to do it, is it? Is that
that's right. Not everybody's away.
Exactly. All right, okay. Well, listen, don't wrap mine too tight because I don't want to be too long on wrapping it on Christmas morning, all right, Mary? So just don't go over the top.
Bother. Yeah.
Good stuff, all right. Now, come here. I'm going to play you a little bit of a song. It's kind of backwards, right? But I'm not going to leave you hanging here. If you don't get it, I'll try and help, all right? Okay. And you'd be winning this 50ml Christian Dior Sauvage GDT spray, which is for fellas. It's for man, but I mean women can wear it too, so I don't know if you've got someone that you might give it to.
Yeah, I have.
You have? Okay, very good. Well, we'll say no more then. We're keeping your cards close to your chest. All right, listen, have a listen to have a listen to this, Mary. See if you recognise this track. My God, I haven't a clue what that is. Do you have any idea?
It's a Rockin' Round the Christmas Tree.
Wow. Well done, Mary. Exactly who it is. Yeah, from Brenda Lee. Nice one. How did you get that?
I don't know, I just recognised the lyrics, some of the lyrics. I know they were backwards.
You are a genius. You are a genius, Mary Sweeney. Now, come here. You have that. You have got that 50 milliliter Christian Dior EDT spray. Oh, sorry, that's for fellas. No, that's for fellas. Oh, it is. I said that already, didn't I?
The other bottle's nearly finished.
I'm getting. Well, what's he got? He already has that one.
Oh, yeah, it's almost finished.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, there you go. Hopefully he's not listening and you can stick it in the Christmas box. All right, listen, Mary, you're also in the draw for this hamper tomorrow. So you've a 1 in 5 chance. So tune in for that, but you don't have to tune in. We'll call you if you win. But I would prefer if you tuned in, obviously. Every listener counts. You have a 1 in 5 chance of collecting that tomorrow. So well done, Mary. I'll let you back to it. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
Have a good one, Mary. Take care, Mary Sweeney there, cleaning the house, wrapping the presents, having a bit of crack. Okay. We're going to be joined by our next guest, Ewan. If you don't mind holding, I do have to take a very quick break, and I'll be back to you in a sec.
Fill your stocking this Christmas from all the great gift ideas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show. See mcgees.ie or like McGee's on Facebook for a chance to win some great prizes.
Make Christmas magical with so many festive delights at Lidl. Savour the rich taste of Tipperary, our award-winning deluxe Irish Cashel Blue, only $3.29. And break out the nice glasses with up to 25% off across our Christmas wine sale, like Deluxe Sauvignon Blanc, now $8.99. Wishing you a magical Christmas with Lidl. Get the facts by Drinkaware. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Please support the St Vincent de Paul annual appeal. Donate today at svp.ie or call 0818 176 176. Thank you.
This December, cozy up your home with the warmth of timeless furniture pieces from Foy & Company, Letterkenny and Ballybuffet stores. If you're looking for the perfect sofa to gather around with your loved ones, or maybe a dining table to host an unforgettable holiday dinner. And the best part, our special offers, with reductions on selected items in both stores. Foy & Company, where style meets comfort, making your house a home this winter.
Motto méidir cliste agat, becheartert plan méidir cliste o Electric Ireland oil freshen. Leis an bhuiineh úsáidan tú a bhrisise síos bhealach mar fachas hana. Ón teas, cócaracht, sailsiú agus tuile, foy amach an méid bhuiineh úsáidan tú. In aine húra, an lei agus an cinál faras atá I gceist. Ag déanamh an úsáid níos soléire agus saoil níos gile. Le plan méidir cliste ag electricireland.ie. Is go méidir cliste bheith agat, téirmí agus cinílacha a bhaime.
The big games keep coming for the hurlers of Setanta. The Donegal and Ulster champions take on Thomastown of Kilkenny in the All-Ireland Intermediate Club semi-final in Uri this Sunday afternoon. And it will be live on Highland. Join us for full match commentary from the 2 o'clock start at Park Esler in association with Topline McCreary's Killygordon for all your building and home improvement needs.
Clare Clothing Letterkenny. We can help you with your Christmas gifting this year. Jewellery, gift vouchers and 30% discount off Naya. Wishing you a peaceful and happy Christmas from Claire and Lisa.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
All right, a mostly dry day with some sunny intervals developing. A few isolated showers are possible. Highest temperatures of 8 to 10 degrees in light to moderate west to southwest winds. So, you know, a lot of us know, either directly or indirectly, the hassle of getting to a test now or getting your test date. It's tough. It's expensive. You have to do the lessons, of course, and then you have to wait 6 months after you get your provisional license. And then you can apply, and then you could get a date 4 months out, and then it can slip to 5 or 6 months. Anyway, for young people, I think particularly there's an awful lot of stress just getting to that test. And I think, Ewan, for your young lad, it's even more. It's been even more stressful for him. I think you probably recognise that story, do you, about trying to get them on the road safely? It takes a long time, and it's not cheap, Ewan.
Yeah, it takes a while, all right, Craig. You know, it's just a normal enough procedure for a young fella to, you know, be heading towards his test, or a young girl. And, you know, it's a big deal. An exam of any sort is a big deal, especially when you're trying to get out on the road. And like, my young fella's 20 years of age, like, and he's a working young fella, and transport for him would be great, you know, and he can't really do that till he gets himself a license. So, I mean, what you outlined there about the procedure up to the point of actually taking the test, it's a big deal, and there's a lot happening, and some people are waiting online or whatever. But Niall's particular situation, when he sat the test, he found that the examiner was there, and plus there was examiners sitting in the back examining the examiner. So, I mean, immediately,
right, sorry,
what's the nerves that he had?
Just to be clear, to paint the picture here, are you saying there was 4 people in the car?
Well, I'm not. I'll say that now, and I'm not exactly sure how many he told me. I know there was 2 other examiners on the car, so I think there was 4 people in the car, including Niall.
But at least there was definitely one in the back. Whether there was another one just assessing the convo, but definitely one in 100%. The back. Wow, okay,
definitely one in the back. So, I mean, I left Niall off, and that morning I was saying to him, you know, take it like, you know, whatever part of life. I mean, Niall would have been into boxing his day, whatever, and his time, you know. And I said, look, take it like a fight, you know. The nerves will be there, the adrenaline will be flowing. Just keep cool, you know, and do what you need to do just to get over the line, you know. So he proceeded with that kind of attitude, and, you know, obviously a bit nervous, you know. So I think, you know, when he realised that there was other people there when he was driving the car, it was, you know, it really impacts it even more, you know. So I don't know, for myself, even as a person that I've been driving for many, many years now, I would find that daunting, to be honest with you, Craig, you know.
And listen, in his boxing, he never got in the ring against 2 or 3 opponents.
No, not that I know of anyway, but you know, but
he didn't flunk it either, did he? He kind of just missed out with a few minor infractions.
Yes, it was pretty simple. I think, to be honest with you, the margins were fine, but we were talking, and he didn't tell me this till the conversation went on. You know, and Niall will be a very placid young fella, and he wouldn't, if they asked him, is it okay, he would say, I no bother, because, you know, he's not going to say no, because, you know, if you're kind of putting yourself in a bad position, he would say no, you know, but I'm not even sure if they asked him. I didn't even ask them if they asked him, you know, to be honest.
But you know, the thing is, Ewan, and I'm not sure if you thought about it, is, as you see, the tester might be nervous because they've got someone testing them. So are they, you know, is it possible that they could, you know, be overly fussy because they're afraid the tester testing them is saying, hold on, you can't be putting people like that out on the road. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wonder, unless he was perfect, was he doomed to fail from the beginning?
Well, I'm not saying Niall would or wouldn't pass the test, you know, with his ability driving. Good driver, very calm young fella. But if you take into consideration, Craig, that if you were sitting and you were scrutinising on a test of somebody doing a test, and there was a couple of boys sitting behind you, and you're thinking, you know, I have to mark this and I have to mark that, because when I go back to and these boys are going to be spitting it out to me saying, you know what, us 2 have marked out something that you didn't see. So he's going to be even more. He's going to be even more sharp. And like the least wee thing is going to be up. It's going to be ticked. You know. So you know, and that's for me. I kind of, and from that point of view, whether Niall done enough himself as a driver to pass or not, you know, is another thing. But yeah, it really tightened the screw on it as far as trying to get over the line. On a normal day,
and I think maybe,
he may have passed.
Yeah, of course. And I think maybe even if they said a week in advance, if that was possible, look at, you know, we're hiring new testers or we're reevaluating that, there might be another person in the car. Maybe even he could have said, you know what, I'm going to see if I can get a date 2 weeks later. You know, I just think it does feel a disadvantage, especially when it's so important now, forgetting about it. Does to deal with that flung on you does appear to me to be a little bit unfair, Ewan, and it would have been great if he passed and we'd never had this conversation, but you'd have to imagine it's going to be a factor in there for the reasons you've been outlining. It's a bit of a shame for him now, but hopefully the wait isn't as long for the next test now, Ewan, and hopefully there's only 2 people in the car.
Well, I hope so too. But I mean, you know, you pay your money, you go out and do the best you can. And I mean, it's the same for every kid. It's not just for my child or whatever. I mean, everybody wants their child, and you're waiting for that phone call after the test. You know, anticipating what may or may not happen. And I got the phone call, and he got a fail. But just look now, let's reapply for it today and get it done, because that's the only way to move forward. The only way to move forward is to stay on the horse and keep on that horse till you get him broke, and that's exactly what he done that evening,
Yeah.
So,
and another thing, for anyone who's a parent of someone under 18, don't for a second think it all stops at 18. It never stops. You're constantly, you're constantly looking after them, aren't you? And sure, we wouldn't have it any other way. Listen, Ewan, fingers crossed.
Listen, just before you go, Greg, I'm going to say one thing, and I wanted to say this, and I want to say it in Highland Radio now. I collect toys at Christmas and have done for many, many years now. And I just want to thank everybody who has donated to the toys this year, Greg. Be it a voucher, be it whatever. It's been staggering, fantastic, and it's been unbelievable. And it restores your faith in the humankind, to be honest with you. It really does. Every year, people are unreal.
And
Donegal, and
the difference that's going to make to young
I've even
people.
had Barry McGuigan sent me a toy from England, so it reaches out far. People do get connected, so it was brilliant, and I just want to thank everybody and
best wishes,
and Highland Radio as well.
Well, listen, we just mentioned best wishes to Niall. As I say, hopefully it's very, very soon, and he'll get the green light next time, no doubt about it. All right, Ewan, have a lovely day. We're back with you tomorrow. Friday panel, that's entertainment. €500 hamper, another perfume or spray. It's all action tomorrow from 9. Don't go anywhere.
Think outside